6 months ago, 8 clubs started out chasing one team. So dominant throughout 2011, culminating in a long-awaited premiership. The Tigers' first in 15 years. Grand finals haven't been foreign to Claremont, although silverware has been. 5 times the bridesmaid in 8 seasons.
And Swans have won the grand final.
This year, the Tigers have been the hunted. At times they've been outclassed.
Lands in the goal square, great mark.
And at times they've slipped up.
This would be a miracle.
But they remain the competition's yardstick. And they're back on the WAFL's biggest day. Losing grand finals has been endemic for Claremont.
But alas, for Claremont, it's been a bitter pill to swallow.
Only a premiership today would appease the heartache of seasons past. Back-to-back flags for the first time in 73 years. Today, Claremont will have to overcome East Fremantle, a club built on winning premierships.
Eagle big climb!
29, the most of any club in the WAFL, and second only to Port Adelaide in Australian football.
It's taken by Hadley.
However, Old East is bunkered in their least successful era.
Over the top, a great mark taken.
12 years since its last grand final, 14 without a flag. Under the tutelage of a man synonymous with both clubs, can the Sharks break their longest premiership drought? Against a club desperate to give credence to their recent dominance.
Tigers burning bright.
24 rounds down.
Big fly from Saunders.
90 home and away games.
Oh, what a mark by Walters.
3 finals.
And a great goal.
Contenders came.
Oh, that's a terrific goal.
And went.
Oh, he spins around.
9 became 4.
So a dream start for Tony McHale's man.
4 became 3.
Davis for a fifth and he's got it.
And 3 became 2.
Picked up by Menegola and he bangs it through for a goal.
All that matters now is the next 120 minutes. This is the WAFL Grand Final.
Hello everyone and welcome to our presentation of the 2012 WAFL Grand Final between Claremont and East Fremantle. Well, a big occasion demands a big stage, and so here we are at Subiaco Oval this afternoon for the most important game of the year. The scene, of course, of many historic WAFL Grand Finals, and one gets the feeling that we may be in for something special again this afternoon. After a gruelling pre-season, 20 home and away matches, and also a couple of weeks of exciting finals football, it's all got down to this, the last and most important game of 2012. And a man who's been a part of plenty of them here at Subiaco Oval and involved both as a coach and a player with the Blue and Whites is Ken Judge. Judgy, welcome to you. And
Thanks, mate.
Look, the Sharks come into this game as underdogs, but it's not bad coming into a game underdogs with winning form and doing pretty well in recent weeks.
Yeah, I think East Fremantle got a chance here today. There's no doubt that Claremont, to my way of thinking, have been the form side of the competition. But when you look at the home and away season, Claremont only won one more game than East Fremantle. So East Fremantle's season's been pretty good. So they've got an opportunity today. Great conditions to play in. I'll be interested to see, Lammy, what effect that really hot day last week in the preliminary final has on East Fremantle today, whether they can run out this game, because I can see a fantastic contest here. There's some wonderful players for both sides, and I think we're going to see a really, really honest contest. And I hope it goes a long way into the game before a winner becomes evident.
15 days without a game, and does there come a point when it's a little bit too long between games with Claremont having...
I think at lesser level footy, I reckon the continuity of playing is not too bad.
I agree.
I think at perhaps at AFL level, where the intensity is more, those days off can often be a handy break for you. But I'm hoping from an East Fremantle point of view, obviously I've got a bit of bias there, that does have that does have some impact today. So I'm looking forward to a great game of footy, great conditions. I mean, it should be a beauty, really.
Yeah, maybe too warm, if anything, for the players. Let's look and see how the finals campaign has unfolded so far. In the first semi-final, it was the Sharks who were too strong pretty much all day for East Perth. The Sharks running out winners 16-15, 111 to the Royals 11-8, 74. The Royals bowing out after the first semi-final. And at Claremont Oval, it was the Tigers off to a great start. They led by 7 goals at quarter time After quarter time, Swans kicked 13 goals to 10, but the damage had been done, and it was the Tigers who went through to the grand final. They ran out winners 17-16 to 14-12. So Swans had to do it all over again last week against East Fremantle, and they did battle at Bassendean Oval. In warm conditions it was as well, and the Sharks, too strong on the day. They led at every change and in the end ran out winners 13-23, 101 to Swan District's 11-8, 74. And two grand finals have already been completed so far today. In the Colts grand final, it was South Fremantle. They got off to a bullet-like start, continued along all day to the grand winners, 20 goals 6, 126 to East Fremantle 9-14, 68. And in the reserves, just completed, the Tigers 16-9, 105 defeated East Fremantle 9-6, 61. Well, already it's been a big week, Judgy, as usual, leading up to grand final week. The Sandover Medal was, the votes were counted and the presentation made on Monday night, a terrific gala night. And at half time today, we'll be looking at Rod Willett taking us through all that happened on Sandover Medal night. Of course, the biggest off-field occasion during the 2012 football calendar. Kane Mitchell from Claremont will be watching him in action today, running out a winner on 58 votes from Mark Hutchings of West Perth on 51, and in third place, Paul Johnson on 42 from East Perth, Tom Roach from Swan Districts rounding out the top 10. And of course, we've known for a few weeks already, Ben Saunders won the Bernie Naylor Medal for 2012 with 66 goals from Ash Hansen on 63, all the way down to Brock O'Brien, who again will be watching this afternoon. He kicked 37 goals for the year. When the Rodrigo Shield, of course, was won by, it was pretty close in the end. Claremont, 274 points. Claremont, East Fremantle, of course, we see got up in the grand final in each of the areas, but at the end of the day, it was the Tigers who took it out. Well, both coaches, Steve Malaxis and Mark Webber, had a lot of success in grand finals as players, and today they enter new territory. They'll be enduring all that a grand final has to throw at them from the coach's box, but they are very composed men, they are seasoned campaigners, and they were really willing to give their time to our boundary riders Todd Ridley and Rod Willett just a short time ago when they caught up with coaches.
Mark, East Fremantle's backline's been fantastic in the last few weeks. Does it pose a problem?
Oh, definitely. I think last week against probably one of the most potent forward lines in the competition, and they held them pretty well. So I think the big thing was, though, that the midfield really helped their defence in slowing Swan's ball movement down and made sure that any ball that went in 50 was pretty messy. So I think if we get enough ball in there, I think I'll back my forwards in.
Claremont's ability to use their skills, get the footy out wide to your runners, is that going to be the key for you today?
Yeah, I think so. I think East Freo have still got some quality outside players as well, so it's no doubt they'd probably say the same thing about us, but it's really going to be a battle of the midfields and who gets the ball first and who gets the most ball to their forwards.
Steve, for East Fremantle to beat Claremont today, has it got to be tight, hard, in closed footy?
I think it has to be in any grand final, Rod, particularly early, so I would expect that'll have to be one of the prerequisites for our success today, yes.
The game's going to be won in the midfield. Can you get enough of it forward and your forwards kick enough goals?
We've got a really good midfield in, names-wise. It's the best midfield we've had in my time at East Fremantle, names-wise. So we're trusting that they'll be able to get enough supply into the forward line. We'd like to convert goals-wise a bit better last week. Our scoring percentage was really good, but we won't be able to cough up easy shots of goal like we did last week.
So the coaches are ready into the East Fremantle rooms. Robbie Young having some tape put on his goal-kicking foot there, and Jonathan Griffin coming into their side. Bit of a luxury for East Fremantle. Mitch Brown has been in good form. Jaden Schofield just getting some reflex work done. Richard Hadley, there's been some concern about him during the week, whether or not he would get up. He has passed his fitness tests, so that's great news for East Fremantle. Luke Blackwell in the Claremont rooms, the captain for the day. In the absence of Andrew Brown, Jake Murphy there sharing a word with Chad Jones. And we can see the man of the moment. He took out the Sandover Medal on Monday night. Kane Mitchell James Thompson there, and a bit of limbering up. Byron Shammer is going to be a very, very important player for the Tigers this afternoon, and we have a big team in place for the 2012 Grand Final as I welcome Corbin Middlemass and Brad Wirra for the first time this afternoon. Welcome to you both. It's going to be a terrific match, you would think, Brad. Certainly the underdogs, East Fremantle, but they're bringing in winning form.
They are indeed, and Grand Final day, fantastic. Nervous up here, no doubt. We all are for Claremont back-to-back, but East Fremantle, we've seen them over the last month. They've been pretty impressive, haven't they?
Very impressive indeed. In fact, the head-to-heads between these two sides this year has been most interesting. They've only met twice during the home and away season. Way back in round 3, it was the Sharks by 34 points, and in round 19, not so long ago, Claremont tore the Sharks apart, winning by 92 points. Of course, they defeated them in the earlier on in the season a couple of times. Claremont versus East Fremantle. Going back in history, if you look at the number of grand finals, 6 in total. Claremont have won 3, East Fremantle 2. There was one drawn grand final back in 1938, and of course it was the Tigers that won that replay. Let's have a look at the team list now, and we'll start with Claremont, Brad. It's a very, very good lineup. When you look at some of the players who played in the reserves, it's pretty difficult to fight your way into that lineup.
Absolutely. There'd be opposition coaches from the teams not playing today looking at that and saying, come and play for us. But Nick Subin comes in, and unfortunately Andrew Brown, the skipper, goes out with that hamstring strain, but Subin a great inclusion. It's their forward line that's pretty impressive with Lee, Chad Jones, and then Paul Meadows. Look for Paul Meadows to have a really big game today. Sandover medalist Kane Mitchell heads up their midfield. Luke Blackwell's a fantastic player. Rory Walton in and under, so they've got just some super experience across all lines, way back down to Trinity Hanley, who can play all over the ground.
Yes, and does so with aplomb, no doubt about that. East Fremantle, Corbin. It's a very, very good lineup. Will they wilt under this pressure and the lead up into the grand final they've had?
Well, they're all playing their first WAFL grand final today, but there's plenty there that have experience on the big stage. A number of AFL players, the guys that have had experience in the AFL system. Dick Hadley, of course, has won a premiership in 2003 with the Brisbane Lions. Mark McGough in that same year won a VFL flag with Williamstown. Now, they've made the 2 changes this week. Gabriel has been left out, and they've brought in Big John Griffin, which is a handy inclusion, an East Fremantle boy who, of course, went to Adelaide and now he's playing with Fremantle in the AFL system. Jack Parham is unlucky to miss out. He was concussed, of course, last week in that heavy incident with Talon Ames. He hasn't pulled up, and Jacob Brennan comes back into the team as well. So handy couple of ends for the Sharks.
And there are the Sharks first out onto the arena here at Subiaco Oval. Mark McGough leading them through the banner, proactive and uncompromising. I'm sure they will be this afternoon. Getting out into the sunshine first, and Luke Blackwell, the captain, with Andrew Brown unable to take his place. There's the Sandover medalist Kane Mitchell. So the Tigers on the field looking for back-to-back premierships. So we really are all set up now for the grand final. We see Wayne Harvey coming out with Bobby Utenbrook with the Premiership Cup. And terrific to see Wayne Harvey there, a member of Claremont's 1964 premiership side. On that day, of course, they defeated East Fremantle by just 4 points. One of those historic grand finals that I was mentioning just a moment ago. Exactly which team will hold that premiership cup aloft at the end of the day remains to be seen. Might just get a few quick tips as we go down the table. Judgy, starting with you.
Well, I'm the patron of the East Fremantle Footy Club, Lammy, so it's pretty hard to go anywhere else, isn't it, I think? Oh, look, I just hope it's a good game of footy, really, and I just hope, as I said before, it goes a long way into the game before it becomes clear who's going to win it, because I think it deserves a great spectacle. There's some great players out there, and it's great conditions, so let's say we hope that's a great game, and hope the Sharks just finish in front at the end.
Brad, you're not the patron? All right, we'll go to the national anthem first.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden sword and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea, our land abounds in nature's gifts, our beauty
Well done there to Samantha Clark. Great rendition of the national anthem. Bradley, I was getting to you. You're not the patron of the Claremont Footy Club, but I suspect I know who you're going to tip this afternoon.
No, a life member, so I'm probably going to lean towards the Tigers, but I'm with Judgy. I think it's going to be a really close game. I hope it goes a long way into the second half, but yeah, tipping the Tigers.
And Corbin, you're a pushover. You're going for the Tigers. I know that. And so we go downstairs to our boundary riders this afternoon. Two of them, Todd Ridley and Rod Willett.
Yes, thanks very much, Phil. And it's a perfect day for football down here this afternoon. It's 18 degrees, the humidity's at 25%, and there's a light breeze, Todd, from the east-northeast at the moment. Probably won't have any effect on the game.
Definitely not, Rod. It's tiny little breeze. We were out in the middle earlier, and certainly nothing to worry about there. I think Claremont, for me, maybe a bit biased there with my heart, but I think like Ken and Brad as well, it's going to be a very good game. East Fremantle have got a lot of upside to them. Very good. 7 out of the last 9 games they've won. But Claremont, for me, Rod, probably a little bit too good all over the ground. Their backs have been the 6 best defenders all season, and up forward, the likes of Lee, Jones, Richardson, and a bit of a smoky, I think, for a medal is Paul Medhurst. Loves the big stage, Rod.
Yes, indeed it is. Well, Todd, I think Claremont have been the best side all year, and I think that today they'll just prove that and probably take the game out. But I think it's going to be close, and I only think by a small margin. But if East Fremantle are going to win, I think it's got to start first in the middle with Big John Griffin. I think he's got to get his hands to the footy, get it down to O'Brien and McGough, and then they've got to pump it forward as many times as they can. We've seen how East Fremantle, in the past times have struggled a little bit, but they've certainly got to find the formula to kick enough goals to win. I think Mitch Brown's got to go straight to Tom Lee. He's been the best forward in the last 8 or 10 weeks and Brown has certainly proved himself to be a more than worthy opponent and a very good fullback at the moment as well. So he's got to stop Tom Lee from the winning. Like I said, McGough and O'Brien, they've got to get a fair bit of the footy, but they certainly, East Fremantle have got to start well, put scoreboard pressure on and really take it up to Claremont. So great day for footy. Crowd starting to build, should be a beauty.
Okay, good on you, boys. We'll be in touch. Kane Mitchell, Brad, the Sandover medalist, and I think pretty widely tipped, and what a deserving winner.
Yeah, fantastic effort from Kane, and I would run with him, Judgy. We'll talk about that at length during the game, but I would actually run a tag with him, but look for him to run a beat test of this big ground.
So here we go, the 128th premiership to be decided. The Sharks looking to snap their longest premiership drought. And the Tigers, can they go back-to-back for the first time in 73 years? We're underway in the middle. Andrews jumped high. Neither could get a touch. On the bottom of the pack is Hadley. He's set upon straight away. Ball slips out towards Weller. It's held in now. The umpire calls for a bounce.
Well, they've gone with Dalziel on Mitchell. Dalziel's an elite running player as well, like Mitchell. I mean, there's not many blokes in that category that can run 16 at a beat test like Mitchell can do. Dalziel's one of those blokes.
Second bounce still into centre. Griffin, the most telling touch, out towards Dalziel. McGough went to soccer. Great smother from Murphy. Out towards Mitchell. Kicks down to centre half forward. Richardson up, takes the mark. On the attacking edge of the centre square. An early touch for him. He's been quiet in the last couple of grand finals. Comes out wide to Shammer, who's pressed forward. Wanted to go short. Sells the dummy. Strolls to about 48 metres out, and Shammer's kicked the first. A dream start for the Tigers inside the opening 60 seconds. Byron Shammer on the board. Claremont 1 straight 6. East Fremantle yet to score. Let's go downstairs and check in with the Tigers bench.
Yeah, thanks, Corbin. We've got Paul Medhurst and Andrew Foster both starting on the bench. Some big names there. Trinity Hanley and Garrick Weedon. And what a great start for your man Richo there, Corbin.
Really good start for the Tigers, as Todd said, but sold a lot of candy, as they say there, Corbin, Byron Shammer, and I think it was Richard Hadley that bought it well. But really good start from Richardson. Got back off the mark really well and quick, assessed his options and used the footy fantastic.
Both Richardson and Shammer very composed there in using the footy. It was a good shot on goal from Shammer. So the restart again, immediately congestion. So after both bounces, we haven't had a clearance from the centre circles. We'll go quickly to Rod Willett and the Sharks bench.
Yes, thanks, Phil. We've got Leek Tickle, Rory O'Brien, Jaden Schofield and Cameron Sutcliffe all on the bench for East Fremantle.
Rory O'Brien on the bench as Henson roves it cleverly, sinks the right boot into it and floats it up to the right half forward flank. Awkward bounce for East Fremantle, but Crawford gathered it nicely. Then he was gathered around the shoulder.
That's 50.
And that is going to have to be 50, I think. Yep, they're not going to give him the benefit of doubt. There's clearly a distinct break between the whistle and Crawford. The tackle just unfortunately slipping up high.
Yeah, a bit sloppy.
And Brad Dick thinking he would just have the opportunity to have a bit of goal kicking practice. A real delay in play. And it's just broken the momentum a bit. Louis Stevenson runs behind Crawford, but David Crawford just reinvented himself from a forward into a quality defender. Goes out very, very wide to the lead of Jones. Nisbet quickly on the boot, just dribbled in front of Murphy, who goes to the goal square at the back there. It was Andrews, just couldn't gather the footy, and it was forced through for a rush behind by Howlett. So Claremont have done all of the scoring, 1-1, and unfortunately East Fremantle yet to score.
Stephen Short to Dodd, two state players this year for East Fremantle. Got one of the best backlines going around in the competition. Here's Dalziel marking at centre half back. Goes out towards the outer wing. Kick in front of Weller. Bouncing footy, the two number 19s. Weller wanted to keep it in. It'll eventually roll out and we'll have a throw in.
Well, he has been a good story, as you said, about Crawford. Gone back and he's had a fantastic year really for them.
No holding.
Playing in his 6th grand final today. Just one premiership in that time. From the throw in. Andrews palms it down. Dalziel had it, knocked off it. Picked up here by Murphy. His kick cut out by his own teammate. There's Walton looking for his first premiership in his 5th grand final. Spills out towards his teammate in Subin. He was dragged off it. Dix becomes the tackler here on Walton. The umpire still lets them play. Scrappy stuff at the moment, and we'll eventually have a bounce. Still on the outer wing.
Stephen Dodd going with Tom Lee with some sort of surprise instead of Brown, but Brown going with Chad Jones.
So just repeating just the two changes. Gabriel and Paramount, Brennan and Griffin in, and Brown misses with a hamstring. Subin in the Claremont team on the outer wing. Here's Shammer, the first goal scorer, trying to gather the footy. Slight fumble, picked up by Mitchell, the Sandover medalist. He fumbles. The ball's out of bounds, a throw in at half forward for the Tigers.
I think the thought is with Dodd. Dodd's played AFL footy on blokes like Rewald and all these sort of players, so I think they felt that they can afford to play him in. They might be a little bit bigger and stronger. They think he's quite capable of playing on players like that, Dodd.
Speaking of big and strong, Griffin and Andrews there. Griffin actually got a hand to it. Picking the ball up there is Bayless. Makes a charge through the pack. Did well. Hand passes out on sideways to Dalziel. Floats it up just over centre wing now. Is there a hand in the back? There's going to be against Thompson. And Robbie Young will take the free kick for East Fremantle. Now he's right up on the southern wing. A good 2 kicks away from goal.
This is the nice domino effect, Judgy, of Griffin coming back in, allowing Young to play at centre half forward.
So Young goes looking for Griffin, and Griffin doesn't let him down. Eyes on the footy, just made his presence felt in that pack. There was nothing that could be done once he got his hands near the footy.
Well, Lammy, I tell you, that's something he needs to do. I mean, Griffin is a sort of player coming back to this level who could have a serious impact on this game and help East Fremantle chances. When he really clunked that, he needs to take some marks like that and convert to help East Fremantle's chances today.
Yeah, converting is most important. The mark is one thing, but he did that brilliantly. Just walks in a couple of paces, sends it on its way. That was never in doubt. So most important for East Fremantle that they get a goal on the board early, and they've done that 5.5 minutes into the first quarter.
Well, what you don't want to do when you're coming against a side that's heavily favoured like Claremont is to give them a start. You've got to be with them. You've either got to be in front of them or with them. You can't afford them to get 4 or 5 goals in front of you because it's a lot of catch up from there on. So to get that goal back from an East Fremantle point of view is important.
Claremont have won 18 of 21 first quarters this year, so they start so well.
Yeah, and just a fortnight ago, Corbin in that second semi-final, they led by 7 goals against Swan District. So that's just a measure of how well they've gone in the first quarters this year.
Griffin back in the centre. Hasn't lost against Claremont as yet in his career, and against Andrews, who hasn't beaten the Sharks. Here's Shammer in the middle. Hand pass away towards Foster. Kicks down to centre half forward. Lee reaches for it. Couldn't mark. Spills down towards Shammer. Bayless with the bump. With Medhurst having his head over the footy. And here we go. We'll see Bayless again coming in on Medhurst. It isn't a great bump.
No, very sloppy play.
The players should be so much more aware of the head down over the footy now.
It's sacrosanct, isn't it? You just can't make contact when a bloke's bending over a ball like that now to the head. It's just a free kick every time. So, not smart play. Probably a bit over enthusiastic there from Bayless, only a relatively youngster and inexperienced. Probably showed a bit there.
It gives Medhurst an opportunity. Goalless in the second semi-final against Swan Districts. A set shot from 45 out. He's on the board early here. Claremont have got 2. They're 2-1, 13. East Fremantle 1 straight 6. 7 minutes in. The Tigers by 7.
Well, just sloppy, Judgy, isn't it, as you said, and it's cost them a goal, but it's also cost Paul Medist hasn't been in the greatest of forms. Corbin was speaking off air, but he's certainly a match winner, and it gives a potential match winner just that little bit of confidence. Starts on the interchange, gives him a little bit of a taste of it. He's a big game player, and I'm with Todd Ridley. I think he's set for a big day.
Well, he's one of those players that likes a big stage. You're right, Brad, and that sort of start for him is the ideal way for a confidence player to get a start.
Extraordinary how close he went to the man on the mark. Almost kicked the ball between the man's raised arms. Griffin back in ruck. McGovern there for the Tigers. Kobe Stevens got a slick hand pass to McGough. Kicks it to centre half forward. Punch away by Crawford. Here's a chance for Stevenson. Been in very good form as he swings the ball high across his body. Up onto centre wing. Close to the interchange area. It goes over for a boundary throw in. There's Chad Jones right down the ground. Right up on centre wing at the moment. Playing full forward, and with him Mitch Brown. So that's going to be and could be a very telling contest throughout the course of the afternoon. Richard Hadley we can see in the interchange area about to come on, and maybe looking at easing him into this game with that injured ankle. McGovern does well, going to ground initially with Griffin, then stacks on the mill, so there'll be a ball up to follow the throw-in. The umpires this afternoon, Scott McPhee, Todd Keating and Justin Orr. So on our broadcast wing, the umpire thumps it into the ground. Griffin held his ground, won the toss, and then Subban came through, read it pretty nicely, but he was never going to get through that wall of Fremantle players. And again, they dive on the ball in numbers. A bit of a wrestle there. Subban and McGough. Now the umpire asserting himself early has picked out a free kick, and it's going to go the way of Nick Subban.
So we're not going down that path again.
Well, we won't go there right at the moment, Brad, as Subban gets a good-looking kick up into the pocket. Good courageous spoil down there by Schofield, and then Stephen is worked over the line and out of bounds by Richardson, so there'll be a boundary throw-in as Rory Walton gets up just a little bit, injured supposedly with the right shoulder.
Bit of help from Tom Lee, his teammate, to get back onto his feet. And he's around this pack, though, for the boundary throw in. McGovern palms it down. Schofield, hand pass away for East Freo. Here's Sutcliffe. He's tackled immediately. Got a hand pass out, burrowing himself in his Subban again for Claremont. And he's got the footy on the bottom of the pack, and he's taken high. So another free kick, another one inside 50. It'll give Nick Subban a chance to go back and have a set shot. 10 minutes into the contest. It's about 10 metres in from the boundary line.
Yeah, well, look, again, it's just sloppy from each man. You've got to be first in. If you want to set a standard, you've got to set it early by getting first in for the ball. If you're giving away free kicks like that, it means you're not first to the ball. And that's Claremont's fourth free kick. Ishmael's had one.
Handy inclusion this week for the injured Andrew Brown, the captain of Claremont. Played both finals with Fremantle this year, Nick Subban. On his way in, his left footer misses out to the near side. Behind, Claremont 2-2, as Freo 1 straight in the 11th minute of the 2012 WAFL Grand Final.
Been pretty good for Fremantle in that role as the substitute for the last couple of games.
Yeah, that's fine.
Pretty handy
2 more metres, Chatty.
intro into this grand final for Nick Subban with his involvement in those 2 Fremantle finals. He's had a good start. McGovern got up very, very high. Crawford, in fact, went to punch. Griffin got the ball at ground level. Crawford had a fresh air shot. The ball comes out in the Shammer direction, but Griffin fought on well, won the ball, kicks it blindly though to the middle of the ground. Laurie takes it for the Tigers. Hand pass to Stevenson, directs it beautifully off the left boot, looking for Trinity Handley and finding him just forward of left centre wing, southern side of the ground. Goes deeper to that flank, and Richardson on the lead. It's marked almost on the paint. That's a pretty interesting match-up as well, with Andrew Stephen on Richardson, and Richardson getting his hands on it early. High ball. McGovern again the flyer. Crawford's wandered down the corridor. He's well between centre half forward and full forward at the moment, and the umpire had a good look at that, decided to blow the whistle and ball it up 20 metres out from Claremont's goal.
Good matchup, Richardson and Stephen. He won't mind, Stephen won't mind Richardson having it 90 metres, 100 metres out from goal. But
Griffin and McGovern again. Rory O'Brien hand passes over his head, looking for Henson. The ball goes the way of Nisbet, however, and he's not going anywhere. Boundary line too close. He was walked over by Henson. So another throw-in just inside attacking 50 for Claremont.
No holding.
Played on each other in the past, those two, and done a very fine job, Andrew Stephen, in keeping Richardson quiet from the throw-in. McGovern reaching over the back. Here's Del Ciel, though, wins the footy, hands it off towards Schofield. Goes out wide with a kick, looking to try and find Dick. Slips out the back. Here's Handley. Oh, slight fumble, heavy bump from Brennan. Picked up by Dick. Hand pass back towards his teammate there in McGough. The kick goes over the wing, looking for Brennan again. Picked up by Subin. The Tigers with the numbers. Long kick out towards half forward. Foster up, couldn't take the mark against his old team. Wrestling now with Stephen Richardson on his feet. Left the footy behind, goes in a second time, taps it back towards Blackwell. He lays the Shepherd for Handley. Hand pass away to Foster, bouncing footy inside the pocket. Schofield taps it back towards the goal line. Hits the behind post. We'll have a throw in.
Interesting to see Jacob Brennan starting on a half-forward flank.
Half-forward flank. I think they're looking for him to provide a pretty competitive edge down there, because I think they realise that Claremont's backline is pretty one of their strengths, and they want to sort of try and break it up a bit with a player who's prepared to put some serious pressure on the other way.
Up against the behind post, boundary umpire tosses it in. Griffin wins the tap, taken by Rory O'Brien. Surprisingly started on the bench, but the blind kick again is taken by Claremont's Trinity Handley. So the Tigers have locked this ball in pretty well. It's quite entrenched in their forward line now as Handley. Good long kick. It's going to score, but drifted away to the near side. So the minor score only. East Fremantle have got one goal, but Claremont now 2 goals, 3 on the scoreboard, 13 minutes into the first quarter.
Well, they're doing all the attacking, Claremont.
James Bayliss, returning in the prelim last week. Previously hadn't played since the Derby loss in round 21 against South. On kicking duties here. Comes out towards half-back. Griffin the target, working his way to the front. Couldn't mark. Spills down towards the Sandover medalist as Mitchell kicks inside 50. There's Medhurst. 30 out directly in front. He's got one already. A chance for back-to-back goals for Paul Medhurst.
Well, they're in some problem then when Bayliss kicked that in, because that was a shocker.
I was just going to say that.
An absolutely shocking kick it was. Well, and all it did was put pressure on his blokes that were trying to mark it. It was a difficult ball to mark, and it came straight back at them.
Hard enough for Jonathan Griffin with 4 or 5 on him, let alone getting that kick to him.
So Medhurst, oh, that is a howler as well. One with a lot, judging, out towards the right. Wow, 3 successive behinds for the Tigers. They're 2-4. The Sharks are 1 straight, 15 minutes in.
That is so unlike Paul Medhurst. I mean, maybe just took it too casually. From there, you'd normally put the house on it. Andrew Stephen, this time a much better looking kick in. Oh, Young flew. 2 grabs, not enough as Shammer got it to Blackwell quickly on the left boot. Bayliss a little bit too slow, didn't have the awareness. Ball spills for Mitchell. Not a bad snap on goal, but again, a little bit shallow. And another behind, but Claremont putting intense pressure on the Sharks. We've travelled just over 15 minutes in the first quarter of the 2012 Grand Final.
4 straight behinds. He's kicked up 15. Dodd goes to Bayliss, running back right to the goal line. Smother from Jones is clever. Out towards Lee. Slick hands, trying to find Medhurst. Boundary line.
Time for Bayliss to have a sit down, Judgy.
I reckon he just needs a break, because James Bayliss is flustered at the moment. The last 3 touches he's had have been, well, that was actually Henson. But Bayliss to me looks a bit shaky down the back at the moment. So.
From the throw-in, Griffin wins the tap down towards Mitchell, kicks across the body, and he's got it through. Kane Mitchell kicks the goal. It ends the run of 4 successive Claremont behinds. And now they're starting to add some gap on the scoreboard. They move to 3-5-23. East Fremantle 1 straight 6. 8 scoring shots to 1, 16 minutes into the grand final.
Well, that's exactly right, Corbin. They've done all the attacking, and as you said, 8 scoring shots. The only thing is they've kicked 5 points, which has probably saved East Fremantle's bacon a little bit here, but they need to do something urgently, East Fremantle, like get some score on the board.
16 minutes into a grand final, Ken. Kane Mitchell, the Sandover medalist, so a fair chance he can play a bit. Unmarked inside 35.
Yeah, that was poor checking.
He's getting his hands on the ball in the middle as well. He's kicked 1 goal 1 when going forward. East Fremantle need to win these centre clearances. Andrews and Young. Andrews won the footy. Centre clearance not forthcoming, although there was a high tackle on Kobe Stevens, so the Sharks get a break in the middle of the ground. Stevens out wide, the pass cleared the head there of Meningola, socked forward by Howlett, and I think that's gone over the line on the full.
Phil, you just see Tom Lee come off the ground, left ankle. Anthony McAvoy, the physio's having a look. They'll probably re-strap it. Hopefully he'll be fine.
Okay, he's got a couple of kilometres of tape on his shoulders, Tom Lee. Mitchell with the free kick finds Swift. Short pass to Crawford. A lot of, not just Mitchell, but a lot of Claremont players just being unchecked at the moment. Perhaps Bayliss not the only Shark flustered as Crawford goes out really wide, looking there for Shammer. Maybe not the best option because Kobe Stevens was bearing down on him. And then, unfortunately for Kobe Stevens, the ball went over the line and out of bounds. So it's near enough to right half forward flank for East Fremantle.
It appears he's got a knock just below the knee, Phil. Hopefully he'll be fine. They're putting a big pad on there, but they'll certainly send him back out.
Yeah, he doesn't look comfortable at the moment. Sutcliffe read it nicely after the ball cleared the pack. Gets it inside, attacking 50 for the Sharks. Teakle went but left it behind. Fresh air shot almost there by Laurie. Teakle gets a hand pass from his knees. Weller feeds a hand pass out. Whedon, though, intercepts for Claremont. Close to the boundary line, Brennan. But good pressure again from the Tigers' defence. See the ball over the line and out of bounds. Thrown about 25 metres around from the East Fremantle goals, and the ball disappeared down the West Coast Eagles' race momentarily.
Got hold! Got blocked!
Second semi-final.
Boundary throw in, right full forward pocket for the Sharks. Teakle immediately took possession of the footy he was taking possession of. The umpire letting it go. Umpire Orr then has a good look. And he's going to order a free kick. No, he's just coming in and restoring law and order. Luke Weller handing the ball back to the umpire. So still in that right full forward pocket for East Fremantle. Andrews and Weller on this occasion, but Andrews has no trouble out-rucking him. Brock O'Brien took possession of the footy. The ball was held to him, and again the umpire having a good look. This time he decides against O'Brien. Free kick with Claremont. Advantage with Blackwell. Goes with a long kick to centre wing. Once more the whistle holding, and this time it's the Sharks. So Mitch Brown with a free kick. He's underneath the electronic scoreboard. Southern side. Short pass to Hadley. So really good news that he was able to get up and pass his fitness test. The most recent of them this morning, as we understand. Goes short to Stephen Dodd.
There's a lot of players in Ishmael's forward line, so it'll be hard to get hold of it from here.
So Dodd kicks long. Big fly. Going up was Menangola. Knocked down into the lap of Blackwell. Kicks out towards halfback. And here's Trinity Hanley marking for the Tigers.
Started really well, Trinity Hanley.
He's been good.
Handley, that's an ugly kick. Going back towards Jess Laurie on the last line of defence. Does well to pick up the half volley. Comes out wide with the kick. Swift takes a good mark. In front of Sutcliffe. An eagle and a docker. Tommy Swift. What a great kick. Bouncing away out in front of his West Coast teammate in McGovern. Diving in Holt. Eventually rolls out of bounds in front of the East Fremantle interchange.
It's a good play by Howlett. Just get it out of bounds. Set up again. Allow his backs to set up, structure up. Get Griffin back in. Really good. Just a little thing.
Tigers by 17 points as we tick into time on in this opening term. Griffin works his way into best position, won the tap. O'Brien attacking the footy. He's on the bottom of the pack. It's held in. Umpire circling. That's a tough call. Holding the ball.
Gee, look where the Claremont fella's arm was, around his head.
Oh. So Rory O'Brien wanted the footy most in that passage, and yet he's penalised for holding the ball. Shammer in the shadows of the light tower. He's called now to play on. Kicks down towards right half forward. McGovern works his way into best position and takes the mark. It was the number 42 last year that tore Subi apart in the grand final. Richardson in the pocket. Takes the mark.
Good side for a left footer.
He opens up the angle and he's looking for goal as well. He's happy with it, and Ian Richardson has slotted it through. The Tigers have kicked the last three, and they're out by 23 points at the 21-minute mark of the opening term.
Well, it's danger times for East Fremantle right now because there's probably 7 or 8 minutes to go in this quarter, and Claremont have really taken the bit between the teeth so far. 9 scoring shots to 1, and East Fremantle are going to need to really tighten things up. They really need to almost try and play this quarter out, maybe score a goal to pinch something back off the lead that Claremont's got, but certainly not allow Claremont to get any late goals in this quarter, because this is a real danger period for them now into time on.
And more bad news for East Fremantle, Judgy. I think Tom Lee's ready to come back on. He looks a bit proppy, but he should be fine. It's grand final day.
David Crawford doing some stretching in the shadows near the interchange area. So the rotations will be on this afternoon. It's warm out there, and the contest is going to be fierce. Stephen wins the ball from just off the contest, kicks it up to the half-forward flank, and Menegola takes a strong mark. Short pass is an absolute shocker, meant for Kobe Stevens. It was a hopeless kick off the boot. Jess Laurie picked it up, gave it to Mitchell. He finds Shammer. A lot of Tigers have just opened up with such enthusiasm and a lot of confidence. Foster is one of them. He goes from centre wing. Up went Schofield, but dropped the easy mark. Jones gathers it, gives it to Medhurst. He won't miss this one, and doesn't. From 20 metres out, directly in front. Oh, Claremont just controlled the football effortlessly down the outer side of the ground. That's the southern side, and it almost seemed as if a goal was inevitable.
Go right back up to the half forward where Menangola took a really good mark but went sideways almost out to the boundary where he should have been getting it in nice and quick, not allowing the Claremont defence to get back into a dangerous area. Went sideways, turned it over off a one-step kick, and against the Premier side for the full year in Claremont, you turn it over and they just make you pay. Good start, Paul Meadows, 2 goals.
What a start by Claremont. They've kicked 5 of the first 6 goals in the game. 10 scoring shots to 1. 23 minutes into the opening term. And Griffin on top in the ruck here though. Won the tap down towards Hadley. Dispossessed, picked up by Shammer. Claremont going forward again. Out towards centre half forward. 3 Sharks went up. Spills down towards Schofield. Picked up at half forward by Richardson. Hand pass inboard towards Handley. Got a play back in the corridor and Foster. 3 Tigers circling. Blackwell grabs the footy. He's beset upon straight away. Pushed to the back. Free kick to the Tigers, and Blackwell, the 2011 Sandover medalist, to take it. Free kick count 8-3 in favour of Claremont to start this game.
Well, sometimes you might question some of the decisions, but they've been second to the ball, Fremantle. That's the problem. He was in his back there, unfortunately. I mean, you might suggest it wasn't a major free kick, but it was there, you know, and if you're second to the ball, you're a chance to be giving away free kicks, and that's what Fremantle are doing at the moment.
On the past 3 club champions awards at the Claremont Footy Club, a premiership player already, and Blackwell has got a goal on the board in the opening term. 6-5-41, Claremont lead Fremantle, stagnant on 1 straight 6. 24 minutes into the opening term. There's a whistle and another free kick will be paid here to Kane Mitchell, who was knocked over at centre half forward, and it's against McGough. So the skipper will give Claremont another shot on goal and a chance for the old proverbial 12-point play.
They've shifted Jared Brennan, sorry, not Jared Brennan, but young Monkey Brennan down to the back line to try and fill some of the holes, but didn't even work.
From 52 metres out, Mitchell goes for home. It's got the carry and the accuracy's bang on as well. Kane Mitchell, the Sandover medalist, has got a couple in the opening term. And it's on again at centre half forward for the Tigers as Mitchell runs away from it. They've kicked 6 goals in this opening term, 6-5-41. And with Mitchell's goal, that makes it 7. So 7-5 to 1 straight. 25 minutes into the opening term, the Tigers by 41 points.
Yeah, well, it's just ordinary to give away another free kick. A double goal like that is just unforgivable. Steve Malaxis would be absolutely fuming with that. I mean, it's bad enough to give the first one away, but then without even a centre bounce, giving another one away. They're in some serious trouble, Fremantle.
Quarter time in the grand final of 1984. Swan Districts were 10-7 to East Fremantle 3 points, and the margin is going to be something like that today. You would expect as Sutcliffe gets a hurried kick out of the centre area, but it goes almost laterally to the wing, to the boundary line. Then Teakle picks it up. Look at the commitment there of Foster coming across his bows, smothering the ball. It deflects over the line and out of bounds. So Claremont just not giving East Fremantle 1 inch, not a second. The big wind up there from Teakle, but Foster throwing himself across his boot. And that was a great smother. Griffin in ruck, palms it down, but Foster again, this time kicks the ball up along the wing. Stephen overran it. Walton flips a hand pass out to Richardson. Sends it to centre half forward. Mitchell, the running player again. Dalziel is right with him on this occasion. Mitchell plays it pretty cleverly. Dalziel persevering. Mitchell's still got the run of the footy. Now he's got to beat a couple, although Handley's there lending support. Sutcliffe comes in, Schofield comes in for East Fremantle, kicks it up to the half-back flank, and Kobe Stevens with terrific courage had his eyes on the footy. He's going to get up a little bit gingerly, yeah. Stevens did very, very well. The free kick is with Menegola. Indicates he's going to kick it long, does so down the southern wing. Good mark taken from behind. See, Robbie Young's been in great form, speaking at least overhead marking wise in recent weeks. Laurie O'Brien plays on. East Fremantle really need to at all costs, but the blind kick to centre half forward. Whedon filling up the hole, takes the mark, Spreads it wide to Swift. Now Swift, no one within 20 metres of him when he took the mark, goes to the half-forward flank, and coming across providing the spoil is Bayliss. The pass meant for Walton and or Lee, but it's gone across the white line at right half-forward flank for the Tigers. 27.5 minutes into the first quarter.
From the boundary throw-in, Griffin. McGovern at the back. Griffin won the tap down towards Bayliss. Hand pass away towards Cooper. Got it back on the 1-2. And Cooper goes across the ground. Outstretched taking the mark is Schofield, and he's away down the outer wing. Handley chasing. Couple of bounces. Schofield kicks towards right half forward for Fremantle. Bouncing footy in front of Thompson, and Teakle lays the big bump. And what'll be his final game this afternoon, along with Luke Weller. Both announcing their retirement at the start of the final series. And the Sharks playing catch up from here, 41 points down. Thompson arrives to do the ruck work, punches it away out of the defensive 50. Cooper has it. Hand pass inboard towards Henson. He goes back by hand towards Schofield. Gets away from Medhurst. Hand pass away to Henson. Goes back to Jacob Brennan. Hand pass away towards Bayliss. Through the middle of Subiaco Oval. Hands it off to the skipper. McGough, hurried kick inside the forward 50. At the drop of it is Dalziel. Couldn't take the mark. Falls out towards Blackwell. Hand pass on towards Subin. Breaks free of the tackler. Gave it to Nisbet. Got it back on the 1-2. Subin down the outer wing. Walton goes up. Couldn't mark. It was infringed upon. Free kick against Jacob Brennan.
He wanted to play on quickly, Walton, by hand, but the umpire says go back around behind your mark. So right up on centre wing, Walton. Again, that commitment of Claremont. Foster on his own near the boundary line. Goes long into the pocket. Lee on the lead. Now that ball has drifted over the line and out of bounds on the full. So free kick to Dodd. East Fremantle need more than free kicks just at the moment. Dodd goes to Griffin. Griffin has Menengola free at left half back. That's the way the kick has gone. Back in toward the corridor. Mitch Brown looking for a quick option, but they're all covered at the moment. So Brown forced to go right across the ground to Bayliss in the back pocket. Runs across the 50-metre line. Looking up on centre wing for Dalziel, and maybe on the second grab he's taken the mark. He has. It's been paid. Gets a quick hand pass now up to Brennan. Brennan takes a couple of bounces. 3 bounces now. He's got it inside 50. Short little pass to Dick, and Dick took it very, very low to the ground. So a good transition of play there by East Fremantle. You'd have to say their most productive forward move so far in this quarter, and it's 30 minutes into the term as Dick has taken the shot on goal. Don't know about his preparation for that one, but that is a very, very bad miss.
It's frustrating, Ken, that 25 metres out. He's a genuine goal kicker.
Yep.
Just go back, take a deep breath.
When you look
and
at the
kick
scoreboard,
it.
you need to kick a goal. You can't think, oh, just, it doesn't matter what comes off out of this. I've just got to make sure I get a goal to sort of try and at least arrest some of the damage that's being done.
Just tried to play it on and made a meal of it to Holt in the back pocket. Now Laurie out towards Stevenson. One way then the other. Goes along the paint to Mitchell. Boundary umpire had a good look at it. The Sandover Medal, some grand final day off and can be somewhat of a burden, but he started so well here. Kane Mitchell with a couple of goals. Kicks down the broadcast wing. Big fly. They come from all directions down towards Howlett. Got rid of one tackler, then hand pass straight to Murphy. He's coughed it up to Hanson. Hot footy. He's dispossessed. Free kick.
Yep. First in for the ball.
Murphy received more free kicks this year than any other player by a long way. And another one here. As Judgy said, first to the footy. Goes out towards half forward. Mitchell lurking. Slips out the back of the pack. Stephen won at the boundary line. Now he's penalised. They just can't take a trick at the moment, East Fremantle. Just a horror start for the Sharks as Kane.
Well, I don't think as much else was his intention other than get it across the line.
Mitchell to the hot spot, knocked away by Dodd. McGovern had a touch of it as well, and it's through now for a minor score.
Well, we want consistency. If we see it happen all day, fair enough.
So Menengola takes the ball from the kick in. Short pass now has been marked by Dalziel. It may have been relieved from his duties on Kane Mitchell. Sutcliffe seemed to be closest to him the last couple of occasions. Close to the boundary line now. Has that been marked? I think it has. Crawford, he's good overhead. He had Jonathan Griffin to outmark on that occasion and did so brilliantly.
Hold there, Nick.
So Crawford looking inboard for options. There goes the kick back to the half-forward line. In front was McGovern, couldn't take the mark. Good strong spoil by Mitch Brown. Another chance, however, for Medhurst. Gets it onto his right boot. Into the pocket, and what a brilliant mark down there by Foster. Just stuck up the one hand if you don't mind. Such is the confidence that Claremont is playing with in this first quarter. 32.5 minutes gone. And have a look at that mark. As the siren goes, body to body with him on that occasion was Jacob Brennan, but great body strength shown by Foster. Reeled in the one-hander, and he can really rub salt into the severe wound that already exists with East Fremantle. He does so, has no problems, just plopping it through after the siren. And the Tigers banners go up. What a first quarter in the 2012 Grand Final. The Tigers out of the blocks, 8 goals, 6.54, leading East Fremantle 1-1-7.
Oh yeah, now bring it down. Come on, baby, round and round. A little more, another fraction. Your tree soul got your action. Get me high, take me away. A troubled side, don't they say? Reach for the sky, come my way. Get me high right now, baby. All right.
Well, Corbin said during that first quarter that Claremont were the best starters in the WAFL, and they left one of their best starts for the whole season for Grand Final day. What a brilliant performance in the first quarter. 14 scoring shots to East Fremantle's 2, and the Sharks, you'd have to say, it's far from over, but they have set up the platform, Judgy and Brad, for what could be a big win here this afternoon.
Oh, look, it's disappointing. That's a bad start by East Fremantle. I mean, to give a double goal as well, that adds even more insult to what's happened. But they just haven't been hard enough, East Fremantle. They haven't been first to the ball. I mean, Claremont have been clearly in that area. That's why they're winning in the free kick count, because they've actually got in for the ball first, and East Fremantle have fallen on their back or got them high or done all those sort of things. I mean, the thing that Steve and Malaxis are trying to address now is we've just got to try and pull this back by 3 or 4 goals in this quarter, not allow them to open up a bigger lead, try and be 4 goals behind at half time, probably back in the game. They might also take something from the fact that the other week against Swan Districts, they kicked 7 goals in the first quarter, Claremont to 1, and then from then on they outscored them, 13 goals to 10 yeah. I think it was. So, look, they might take something out of that. They've got to take something out of it, because right at the moment they're in real trouble.
Because the Claremont hunger, Brad, is so noticeable, isn't it? They just, as Judgy has said, first into the footy, but they just look so hungry for it.
Absolutely, and it's their senior players that not could be excused, but it's the Mitchells running 25 metres to put on a shepherd. It's the Fosters smothering full length just in front of our commentary position here, leading the way, and they've just been from Byron Shammer very first within the first minute. His start and attack on the contest, that's the thing. And the disappointing thing for me, for the East Fremantle boys, is they haven't done the simple things. Brad Dick's shot on goal, get in first to the footy, as Judgy said, kick it long down the line. Big games, grand finals, you've got to do the simple things and do them well to start with, and they just haven't done that.
Well, East Fremantle have to take stock at quarter time. Let's take stock now of the goal scorers for the first quarter. Pretty extensive list on the Tigers side of the ledger. Medhurst and Mitchell both have 2. Great start by the 2012 Sandover medalist Kane Mitchell. Blackwell, Richardson, Foster and Shammer have all chipped in with a goal. And for East Fremantle, their solitary goal scorer, Jonathan Griffin. And looking at possessions, Brad, Mitchell, well, no one really running with him early. Dalziel, I think, failed in that quest. He kicked 2 goals, 1, and had 9 possessions in the first quarter.
I said before the game, sorry, Lemmy,
no,
you have to tag him. Someone has to run with him. Not a Mexican shootout, not on this big ground. Someone runs with him.
Handley and Shammer also had 6 possessions each. Richardson was busy with a goal, 5 possessions. Foster, I mentioned, I think, had 2 marks as well. Blackwell busy, and Swift had 3 kicks. And for East Fremantle, some of them getting the footy. Dalziel, I mentioned, I'm not too sure what his priority was there, but he got a bit of the ball himself, took 3 marks and 7 possessions. Schofield did pretty well, but in defence, Menengola had most of his 4 possessions behind centre as well. Griffin has tried very hard, taken a couple of marks. Barlis was under siege in defence. Dodd, another defender, getting some of the footy. Mark McGough, 4 kicks, and Rory O'Brien started on the bench. But collectively, East Fremantle really have to do better. They've been second to the footy. They've used a fair bit of handball, but that's been because they've been under a lot of pressure. 16 to 8 inside 50s in favour of Claremont. No surprise there. They've got 12 free kicks to 4. And to centre breaks, well, the Sharks have had a few, but the Tigers are setting up much better as we go down to somewhere just adjacent to the Sharks huddle and Rod Willett.
Yes, thanks very much, Phil. Well, East Fremantle, they're probably physically and mentally shaken after that first quarter. They come in, got into their huddles, and there was probably very little being said by any of the players, and the coaches were a little bit slow out. So Claremont just jumped them really quick, and by the time they actually realised that the score had become the score that it had, they just don't know what to do at the moment. And, they've basically, made mistakes from, poor decision-making, poor kicking, and basically they've really got to start again. Forget about this first quarter. Let's start fresh in the second quarter and get in there and win the first ball.
Okay, thanks very much to Rod Willett. As we see Mark Webb, he'll be very, very happy in his first year as a senior coach, getting his side, to a grand final, and what a start they have had. He would have been feeling the pinch and the pressure during the week, and he's now with Todd Ridley down on the boundary line.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Mark, terrific start, but you were in this position a couple of weeks ago against Swans, and they were never out of the game. What was your message then?
Oh, we've got to stick to what we've done well. I think we've been lower and harder, so it's important that we come out this quarter and continue to do the hard work, because I know that East Fremantle will try and come back hard now.
Your tackling, smothering, chasing, outstanding, wasn't it?
Yeah, the pressure acts are right up, and it's been a big impact on while we've got some scoreboard pressure.
And one more thing, mate, Tommy Lee, he's all right. He got a nasty knock just below the knee then.
Yeah, he should be all right. He'll be back on this quarter.
Good on you, Webby.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Todd Ridley, Simpson medalist in 1996. Downstairs with Mark Webb in his first year. At the helm after taking over from Simon McPhee, a man who knows all about success with Subiaco, 4 times a premiership player in 6 grand finals. Simpson medalist as well on this day, Brad Wirra.
Correct.
So it's all Claremont. What a ferocious start, and we're underway in the second term. The Rucks miss it completely. Spills down towards McGough. They're going forward early, the Sharks. Out towards Menangola. Knocked away from him. Getting involved is Stevens. Got a hand pass away. It's tough in tight. Hadley jumps on top of it for East Fremantle. Murphy holds it in. Umpire calls for a bounce.
No holding.
47 points is Claremont's advantage at the first change.
What would they be happy with, Ken? Obviously, you spoke about just whittling that lead down, a couple of goals.
I would have thought if they could score Claremont by, say, 4 goals in this quarter, they'd probably think they're back in the game.
Claremont get the takeaway. Foster's kick went up in the air, down to Shammer. Fumble from Holt. Went to go back to Shammer, who was outside the boundary. We'll have a throw in here, just forward of the wing. It's been a little bit of feeling in the game. Hadley and Blackwell both had it before the bounce, and of course there's history there. After an incident with Blackwell, Hadley was left with a fractured eye socket in round 19. But Claremont doing most of the damage on the scoreboard in the opening term where it counts. A free kick going East Fremantle's way here.
Well, the tackle actually hung on for a bit long there with McGough.
Tackler was Shammer. McGough's kick inside the forward 50. Griffin in from the side, and the mark's paid. So a second contested mark inside 50 from John Griffin.
One of the concerns going to this game, of East Fremantle 5 top goal scorers this year, 2 of them are not playing. Perham through injury, and Duffy, who ended up getting injured late in the year and just couldn't get himself back into the team. So you take from your goal scoring power, you take 2 of your top 5 goal scorers out, leaves a heavy reliance on a few of the other players, doesn't it? So players like Griffin and they've got to stand up.
And Brock O'Brien hasn't touched the ball.
And Griffin slots through his second, so at least the Sharks, they've got the first in his second term. Claremont 8-6-54, East Fremantle 2-1-13. As you mentioned, Judgy Perham 34 goals in his 20 games, and Max Duffy 33 in 15.
And Brock O'Brien's been a reliable avenue to goal as well, but did not touch the ball in the first quarter.
No, exactly. So, but as I say, you take 2 of your top 5 out, and then as you said, your leading goal scorer, which is O'Brien with 41, doesn't touch it in the first quarter. Gee, you're leaving. Who's going to kick your goals for you? It's a question you start asking.
Stevenson with the job on Brock O'Brien.
And Stevenson's had a bit of it himself, Brad.
Just a reliable defender, can play both ends, but half-back really suits him.
So the ball bounced again. Griffin and Andrews both got a piece of it. Shammer, though, gets the clearance for Claremont. A bit of a high up and under, goes to the point of the centre square at left half forward. What a great attack on the ball by McGovern, who completed the mark. Now he's called to play on. Squeezes a kick away, looking for Foster, who fell over. Jones went to ground as well, and Hadley took a very well judged mark.
Might be time, Ken, to bring Brock O'Brien up, throw him in the midfield, throw him on the wing.
They've got to get him into the play, don't they?
Andrew Stephen, Dalziel. So Dalziel has it again, very, very wide. Wants to get around Nisbet, looking for options, but needs to go laterally and dangerously to the aforementioned Brock O'Brien. Knocked away from him by McGovern. No easy possession still for East Fremantle. The ball picked up by McGovern when Bale has failed to do so. From just in front of the centre square, lobs it up high. Medhurst takes the mark, just walks around onto his right foot, across his shoulder, the way he likes to do it. And Paul Medhurst has got his third goal. A quick reply to the early one from Jonathan Griffin, and Claremont 9 goals, 660. East Fremantle 2-1-13.
Well, they're in trouble. The change of direction wasn't bad, but Brock O'Brien had to meet the ball. He stood and waited for the ball to come to him instead of going to it, which allowed the Claremont player, gave the Claremont player access to the ball, which allowed him to spoil it. I mean, if you want to get yourself in the game, go at the ball when you get an opportunity to get it. Go after it like you mean it, and he didn't then. He waited for it to come to him, and they were in all sorts of trouble from then on because Claremont outnumbered them at the contest from then on.
Started well. Big McGovern can take a really nice contested mark, can't he?
Bo Wilkes wore the number 42 last year, the Simpson medalist. And Paul Medhurst. Some question marks on his form coming into today. He's got 3 already, early stages of his second term. In the middle, coming through is Walton. Clearing kick down towards centre half forward. And Nisbet is there, left behind for Jones. Hand pass out towards Shammer, breaks free of the tackle from Brennan. Kicks inside 50, honours the Medhurst lead, and he's stuck away from Dodd to take the mark. Foster free in the middle. He decides to go to Walton instead, trying to take the slips catch, couldn't do so. Got the footy out, comes back to him, held him on the bottom of the pack. The umpire calls for it.
So there's a classic Paul Medhurst for you there.
What was he trying to do?
Well, you're going to get 2 or 3 of them from Paul every game. He should have gone back and had a shot, but that's just Paul. He's very unselfish, tries to do those type of things.
As you saw there, the effort from Rory Walton. Played in 4 losing grand finals. Hadley tried to take on the tackler. Stephen a clearing kick out of the defensive 50. Defence has just been under siege, and here goes Hanson, who gathers the footy on the Sharks logo. Tried to get a hand pass away. It was pulled down there by Shammer. And a free kick will come back to Sean Hanson.
Well, at least he tried to make the play then, Hanson, so good on him.
He was the captain of the team that Malax's coach that won the Colts premiership in 2010. 3 of them out there today. Across to Dalziel. Out towards half forward to Brennan. Kicks inside 50. He's put it too wide. Out of bounds on the full.
Had Kobe Stevens and Jonathan Griffin inside. Just needed to turn his neck, have a look inside.
Nick Subin to bring the footy back into play. Started well. He'll kick long. Out towards half-back. Jones is down there. Almost hits Cooper in the back of his head. Waiting to crumb front and centre. The footy comes to him. Trickles off the boot and out of bounds once more at half-forward for East Fremantle. Back at that quarter-time margin of 47 points in favour of the Tigers.
They just need to straighten up. Going into attack as well, East Fremantle, because it's just not amounting to anything, going very wide at the moment. The boundary throwing cleared the ruck and was taken by Swift at the back of the pack. His hand pass back toward the boundary line and a little bit overzealous on that occasion. Stevenson, his immediate opponent, Brock O'Brien, has a possession. He uses it long. He was inaccurate last week up at Battenine Oval. And this one is missed to the near side, so behind to the sharpshooter, or the not-so-sharpshooter, Brock O'Brien.
Holt brings it in quickly, long out to half-back. Foster gets it moving. Here's Stevenson. Goes along the boundary line. Brown knocks the ball away from Jones, and we'll have a throw-in.
Judgy, I've been pretty big on Brock O'Brien over the final series of maybe re-stamping himself as an AFL player, but a big stage like this, he really needs to put form, doesn't he?
Yep.
The 2 ruckmen wrestle.
Holding his arms down, Griffin.
Free kick picked out. It's going Griffin's way against Andrews.
Griffin, arms around. Don't hold.
Close to, if not East Fremantle best player so far. He's got a couple of goals and he's had the better of Andrews in the ruck. He kicks long to the top of the goal square. Young down there. This could bounce through. Griffin's got East Fremantle's first 3 goals of the game. That is a remarkable kick from out at left half forward. It's cleared the pack, bounced in the goal square and kept on running through for 4 points.
I was waiting for the whistle.
Yeah, he's got good skills for a big bloke, isn't he, Griffin? I mean, he's just a he's got good skills with some mid-sized and smaller players.
Yep.
And he's got, he drops it well. He's, and for a tall bloke, it's really good. But he's given that a roost. So, look, he's at least keeping East Fremantle or putting a bit of respectability on the scoreboard. He's got a few mates to help him out a bit here, Big Griffo. So
I thought Robbie Young might have been penalised.
Yeah, so did I for jumping too early. Yep.
And didn't get his hands anywhere near the football. Sometimes you see that paid, but East Fremantle need to grab a few breaks. They've got one 8 minutes into the second quarter. Griffin now, after kicking the goal, back in ruck. Rory O'Brien in his endeavour for the footy went to ground, but he got a hand pass out to Delzeal. He gives one now to Schofield. Looks straight down the corridor. That's better, and it lands right into the arms of Brock O'Brien. So more direct football required by East Fremantle. This is a powerful kick by Brock O'Brien. That's what he does best. 2 monster goals by East Fremantle. Will that lift the Sharks? Well, this is what's been called for. Winning the ball out of the centre, going directly for goal, and it's paid dividends. Brock O'Brien, after not touching it in the first quarter, has now kicked 1 goal within the second.
Well, there's a long way to go, Brad, I know, but at least there's a bit of something East Fremantle are showing. Well, there's a pulse, exactly. They're not dead and buried yet, but the thing is they've just got to maintain that intensity they've played with in the last 4 or 5 minutes.
And don't try
win
and
that. Yeah, that's exactly right. Just chip away at what they're doing here. We want to get a good game out of this, don't we? That's what I want to see. So, quarter time, I was ready to chuck the baby out with the bathwater.
34 points the margin. Rob Young moved into the ruck, and McGovern's there, gets the run up. It's been a holding decision. O'Brien didn't have it. That's Rory. So free kick to him in the middle. Gee, you'd want to see it at the Subiaco end of the ground, wouldn't you, to start this game? It's where all the action's been. Stevens kicks smothered, took a little too long. Schofield and Walton both there. Walton wins the footy, hands it away towards Richardson at halfback. Kicks down towards the outer wing. Nisbet a slight fumble off the deck. His hand pass goes back, looking to try and find Blackwell. Away to Swift, high up and under.
He's kicked it over his head.
Yeah, only he could put the ball.
That's a skill in itself.
Only he could put it out of bounds on the fall from there. So Stephen brings the footy back into play to Stevens.
Need a bit more from this player.
Kobe Stevens goes back towards the southern side of the ground. Out towards half forward, well of the target, spills down to Crawford. Walton hands it on to Swift, lays it back by hand to Blackwell as he cops the Bronx cheer, goes beyond the wing looking for Jones. He's beaten by Brown again, hands it back towards Stevens, and he'll go out towards left half forward, reaching from the back and knocking the ball away. Crawford will have a boundary throw in.
The other thing, if you're going to get a contest, you get blokes in front of the contest. That last time the ball went to Weller, there was no blokes crumbing in front of the contest. There was 3 Claremont players, no East Fremantle players. O'Brien and Dick and these players have got to get there. You just can't be a marking player like O'Brien. Sometimes I think wants to be Brock O'Brien. He's got to actually be a crumbing player as well.
34 points the margin. It was 47 at quarter time. And after that boundary throw in, that's going to be holding the footy. The umpire Orr, you do not mess with umpire Orr when you put yourself over the footy like that. And Rory Walton did, so the free kick is going to go the way of Schofield, who certainly hasn't been East Fremantle's worst player. Indicates he's going to go long. They've got some tall timber down there. Griffin sets himself. Oh, in the end, the ball falls a little short, and judging it to a nicety down there is Menegola. He's another very capable player. He's got great endurance, but I like the way he uses the footy, and on that occasion, he
don't like when blokes throw the ball up in the air when they go back for a goal. Lammy, I've got to tell you, it's one of my pet hates.
All right, well, Menegola, I'm sure, will hear of that in due course, but he goes back, and now the last 3 goals have been kicked by East Fremantle. And perhaps we do have a game on our hands. They had to find something, and I just like the way they've gone about their footy in this second quarter, Brad. We were, I guess, critical of the fact that they weren't first to the ball in the first quarter, but they certainly have, I expect, taken a rocket at quarter time from Steve Malaxis.
No doubt from Steve Malaxis, knowing him as a coach from last week. We heard his antics, but they have. It's been really quick too. That's the pleasing thing from their coach's box. It's been really quick. Ken, they've gone from 1 goal to 4 to 5 now in a matter of 5 or 6 minutes, so they can score quickly, but doing the simple things.
Well, they've actually started to win the ball, haven't they, in the contest, and that's what they weren't doing in the first quarter. I mean, they were embarrassing in the first quarter. They've actually turned it around at the moment. Let's hope they can continue this in the second quarter to give us a game at half-time.
Tigers kicked 8 goals to 1 in that opening term, and East Fremantle have kicked 4 of the 5 goals in this term so far. It's Claremont going forward here, out towards Tom Lee, one-on-one with Dodd. Going to ground is Bayliss. Dodd out after the footy. Medhurst right with him. Dodd wants the boundary line. He gets it eventually. We'll have a throw in half forward for the Tigers.
Done well, Stephen Dodd. Wily old veteran now that he is.
It's had a good year for Fremantle. Probably nearly be their best in first winner, I reckon.
VFL Grand Final on today as well, and has been decided. Matthew Knights' Geelong.
Beat Port, did they?
Yeah, their VFL team have got over the top of Port Melbourne today. McGovern just dumps it forward for Claremont. Inside their attacking 50. Cooper and Medhurst out to meet it. There's a push here, or a holding rather, and the kick's going Medhurst's way. You can see Cooper's reaction. We'll get another look at this. And this will put Paul Medhurst within a chance to kick his 4th before half-time.
I'm not quite sure how you can... I don't think it's probably a free kick either way.
Set shot for Medhurst on its way. Goal umpire has no problem with that. Paul Medhurst just kicked 4. And Claremont bring up their 10th. It stops the run of 3 successive East Fremantle goals. Claremont 10-6. Old East 5-2.
Well, watching that vision, I can't work out how you can pay a free kick either way in that contest.
Neither could the players, Kieran. It's confusing when they both get up and think it's their free kick, as we see on the screen there. Both of the boys going back.
Yeah, both have got their arm around each other. Bad decision.
Terrible decision.
Yeah, those sort of things, you know, in any game of footy can just have an impact, and that's had an impact because he kicked a goal.
So back in the middle of the ground, margin back to 34 points as it was a moment ago. Andrews. Young. Andrews over the top, palmed it down brilliantly to Blackwell. Another Claremont clearance, and what a clearance as well. A spearing pass from Blackwell looking for Jones. Oh, Brown falls over. Jones ambles away inside 50, looking at goal and just misses to the far side. Well, that would have been deflating for East Fremantle. Another quick one by the Tigers, but a bit of a let-off there. But, gee, that was a worry. Mitch Brown going to ground as easily as he did. Risky kick in, meant for Schofield. Intercepting Foster. The hand pass from Richardson didn't find its target. He has another go. This time looks for Walton. Snapshot from Walton. He was taken high, and he will get a free kick. He missed the initial time. The contact was high, as you see here. Really not a lot in it. It was a glancing blow only. I'll leave that to you, Judgy and Brad, to comment further.
Wouldn't mind seeing it again if we can. I think it was just on the shoulder.
If that.
Below the shoulder, just below.
Oh, that's not high. No, he's hit him in the arm.
Yep.
I mean, that's terrible.
You know, they just can destroy a grand final. Any game, when it's a grand final, it really does disappoint. So Walton can go back from 35 metres. Angle not an issue. And really hammer another one home for the Tigers. 15.5 minutes gone in the quarter. Walton, a bit of a wobbler off the boot, and he's missed. Might have just glanced the post, that one, from Walton, but didn't come off the boot at all well.
So Jim Bayliss to himself, and then long out towards half-back. Brennan flies from the back of the pack. Spills down in front of Menangola. Had a good second half to the air. Jams it on his boot. Teakle fresh on the ground. Chips the kick. Going back towards Young. Thump towards the boundary once more. A little bump from Crawford onto Young. And they're just whistle friendly at the moment, aren't they?
See, they get carried away. Honestly, they can just have an impact on games sometimes.
They changed the momentum of this game.
Who's this fellow? Who's that bloke?
Crawford's just gone back to Young, and as soon as he's made some sort of contact, Young's gone down, and sure enough, the whistle's gone. Here's Andrew Stephen, kicks towards right half forward. Big punch from behind. The fly in there was Crawford. On the bottom of the pack, McGough gets to the feet with the footy. He's lost it. Knocked away by Laurie. Here's Henson. Gathers the footy. The left footer out towards centre half forward. Tom Swift takes the mark, the floating footy. And Swift goes out towards Tom Lee, trying to sneak away from Dodd. Best on ground in the Foxtel Cup Grand Final earlier this year. Hasn't hardly had it so far, and an injury scare as well. Dodd wins the footy to Bayliss. Hand pass under pressure out towards Sutcliffe. Here's Weller. He's lost it as well. Shammer slips away from the would-be tackle from Sutcliffe. Goes down the outer wing once more. Mitchell the target. Didn't take a kind bounce. Out towards Bayliss. He stepped over the line. Out of bounds. We'll have a throw in almost directly on halfway. A free kick count. We've had 25 free kicks paid so far in the opening 2 quarters, or 17 minutes into the second term.
Steve Malactus doing it tough in the coach's box. Griffin palms it down. Delzeal got possession. He was claimed by Byron Shammer, who's had a very good start to this grand final. So the umpire will bounce it down, still on the southern wing. Richard Hadley, last man up. 36 points the margin. Hadley, third man up, wins the tap. Sharp though by Foster, who gave it to Swift. Swift hurriedly on the boot, bounces past 4 players before eventually bouncing over for a throw-in. There's Stephen Dodd. He's got the job on Tom Lee at the moment. He's doing pretty well.
Well, they've done all right on their tools. Yeah. Lee and Jones haven't had much impact. McGovern's taken a couple of marks, but they've been up the ground. So they've done all right. But it's just their mid-sized players that have got the Fremantle.
Griffin again winning the tap. No one claiming it at ground level. Even Hadley left it behind. Blackwell had it momentarily. Now it's Nisbet. He picks it up, has a bit of a pot shot, and fisting it through for a rush behind was Howlett. So another score by Claremont. And there's Mark Webb sitting in his coach's box, officiating in his first grand final. Of course, he's an experienced campaigner on grand final day.
Here's Andrew Stephen. Goes long out towards half-back. Clears the pack. Spills down out in front of Brennan. Here's Menangola close to the boundary line. Wanted to keep it in. Murphy jumps on top of the footy. Hand pass to no one in particular. Picked up by Howlett. Slips as he goes to kick. Misses the footy. And ball's out of bounds. Remarkable how many times Claremont they've had the week off that the side that wins the second semi-final isn't able to go on and win the premiership. Just a 57% winning record for the side that wins the second semi to go on and become premiers. Shammer's kick smothered. McGough comes away with a footy. Hooks his kick back towards the corridor. Going up O'Brien. Couldn't take the mark. And Crawford wins the footy. Hand pass out towards Swift, and Brock had been a little bit of trouble in the middle of the ground. Swift kicks long towards the top of the goal square. Cooper got the punch in. The ball's out of bounds. O'Brien still trying to get to his feet. And here's the marking contest with Brock O'Brien and Crawford. Watch the landing there of Brock. Felt for his right knee as soon as he landed. He's walking off very gingerly at the moment for Fremantle. More on that to follow. Boundary throw in. Chance for Murphy. Slips the tackle. Gets around onto his left boot. He misses to the near side. And behind.
Well, that would have really hurt Jake Murphy. Just needed to straighten up on that occasion. That doesn't look good, although he's in the end. Brock O'Brien has jogged off a little bit more comfortably. Meanwhile, Sutcliffe has it. Uses it short, and a good mark has been taken by Schofield.
Sometimes, Ken, when your forward line structure goes out the window in big games, it just might add something to them. We saw it Geelong with Podsiadly go down that year in a grand final. They have to restructure, change it up a bit. Obviously, Brock O'Brien's an important player, and we hope he's okay, but change it around. Delzeal's
kick wasn't great. McGovern was able to bring it to ground. Share it with Richardson. Goes along to the point of the square. Now it's picked up by Dodd. Delzeal. And in the end, Cooper uses it very, very short to Mitch Brown. Good tackle by Richardson. Back to Cooper. They're still under pressure. Dodd for Fremantle in the last line. Gets the left boot into it, but didn't find a lot of the footy. Here's Mitchell. Shrugs off Brennan. Goes with a short grubber. Picked up by Lee. He snapped from the pocket. And what's been able to do? Great goal by Lee. Not just a lead-up player, not just a high grab, Tom Lee, but brilliant at ground level as well. And Claremont have their 11th. At the 21-minute mark of the second quarter, Lee in a little bit of discomfort himself, but that kick from Dodd, he just didn't get enough on the footy, allowed Mitchell into the contest. And after that, he slipped over, but Judgy and Brad, Tom Lee, he's got a lot to his game.
Yeah, look, it was a good effort. It was just a bad kick from Dodd. He just didn't make life easy. He was trying to get it to Brennan and of course, didn't get the distance, which brought Mitchell into play. Mitchell kept the ball alive and Lee finished off, so good effort by Claremont.
Only his second possession for the game, Tom Lee, and he looks as though he's come off with a bit of an injury.
Yeah, it looks like a different injury too as well. Phil is pointing to the inside of his right knee there. I'll keep you updated about Tom, but well done to him.
So after the Sharks kicked 3 in a row, the last 3 Menangola, Claremont have had the last 6 scoring shots of the game. Still no clean takeaway up the middle. Footy rolls towards Kobe Stevens. Hand pass to Hadley. Out wide towards Cooper. He kicks down towards half forward. Oh, getting back is Holt. Takes a good mark in front of Delzeal. Son of John Holt, former North Melbourne footballer of 71 games. Holt's kick. Oh, goes straight through the legs of Jake Murphy. Slides in for it. Held up by Delzeal. Penalised holding the ball.
Brock O'Brien, boys, he's looks like he's just jarred his knee there. They've tested it out. He's had a bit of a run. I think he'll be okay. He'll be back on shortly, hopefully.
Done all that, and he's only been off about 10 seconds.
Dalziel will go short towards Kobe Stevens. Can't take the mark. Follows up though. Squeezes a kick out towards Menangola. Takes the mark and keeps on going. Kicks towards the top of the goal square. Young down there wrestling forward. Couldn't take the mark. Chance for Teakle in the pocket. Squeezes the kick out and kicks the goal. Leif Teakle splits the middle for East Fremantle. And they register their 6th goal. Stops the run that Claremont had created. Claremont now 11-10, East Fremantle 6-2, Judgy.
Well, I spoke about it before. If they could just pull back by 4 goals, they've pulled it back by a couple so far. They just need to try and get another couple at the end of this quarter, and maybe just turn about 4 goals behind. And they've been probably outplayed, but it just gives you a sort of glimmer of hope. You go in at half-time thinking, well, look, we're not totally done and dusted here. We're still a chance. We're in this game.
They have a great fighting spirit, the Sharks. But they really have some work to do at half-time. We're 23.5 minutes into the second quarter. Griffin giving them something in the middle. Now, there was a holding decision seen there by the umpire, so Rory O'Brien with the free kick. Spears the pass looking for Kobe Stevens. Dalziel ran past him. Stevens trying to move the ball on quickly. Need to get it deep as quickly as they possibly can. Teakle flew but had no impact. Here's Menangola. He can have an impact. Throws it onto his boot and just overcooks the snapshot. Well, some better signs there for East Fremantle. It's certainly playing better passages of footy in this second quarter than they even approached in the first term.
He's right.
He's been okay, Menangola. He was all right last week too.
Yep.
Lewis Stevenson in his 3rd grand final. Goes to himself and then comes out wide to Crawford, close to the paint. Just got a hand on it. I think Stevenson kicked to himself anyway, so that won't be a problem. Boundary throw in at half forward for the Sharks. 15 premiership players from last year out there for Claremont today. A few running around in the reserves earlier. Claremont premiers for the 3rd consecutive years in the reserves competition. And South Fremantle back-to-back in the Colts earlier today.
Thanks, boys. Come on, come on.
East Fremantle, the last time they had all 3 grades in back in the year 2000 against when the league played East Perth, and unfortunately that day they went 0-3. Here's Griffin, won the tap, down to McGough, kicks inside the forward 50, Weirden floats in front and takes the mark. Swung around into defence this year and has played a handy role for Claremont in their back 6. Out towards the half-back flank. Oh, good mark taken by Trinity Hanley, just judged it best and took a nice one-hander.
Doing a good job on Henson, who's just drifted out of the game. Handley. Long up onto centre wing. Mitch Brown couldn't complete the mark. Nisbet in over the top of the pack, ferreting for the footy, finds it, gave it to Richardson, likewise to Blackwell. Blackwell gets it onto his boot and finds Medhurst. He's well down the ground. He's kicked 4 goals in the first quarter. Centering kick is a beauty. Great vision. Finds McGovern. He can run to 50 and score. Sends it on its way. Pushes it right. In the end, a good build-up, but a disappointing finish. Jeremy McGovern, who's played well. Claremont 11-11 and leading East Fremantle 6-3.
Stad played in 3 grand finals for the club. A couple of premierships. The premier there, Colin Barnett, watching on.
Chairman of the commission, Frank Cooper, alongside him.
Long kick from East Fremantle coming out of the defensive 50, and they've got the runners here. Sutcliffe grabs the footy, tucks it under his arm, has 1 bounce. He can have a 2nd, he can have a 3rd if he likes. Strolls to about 55 out, hand pass inboard to Dick, got Menangola inside him. Menangola to finish off the work. He sprays the kick. Had to finish better. They've just got to take every opportunity going forward, the Sharks. A long way back, they trail by 37.
See the disappointment on the Sharks supporters there.
3 shots at goal this quarter for 1-2 return. They just need to convert.
Stevenson to Shammer. Richardson, look at the space he's got on the outer wing. He could afford to slip over, gather himself, take a few bounces and then deliver to another player all on his own. Medhurst, if you don't mind, hemmed in up against the boundary line. Centering footy was a good one, meant for Lee. He went to ground, and so too, under the weight of a good Bayless tackle, did Kane Mitchell. And the umpire will ball it up well inside, attacking 50 for the Tigers. Brad Nisbet last up, and there's going to be a free kick to East Fremantle. Can he go the way of Andrew Stephen? I have no idea what that was for. In fact, it's going to be Brad Dodd. I don't know if he actually knew it was his. Close to half-time, and we'll be revisiting Sandover Medal night. Rod Willett walking through all of the glitz and glamour of that big night held on Monday night. Of course, Kane Mitchell came away with the major prize. Robert Young put his head down, gave it off to Dick. A rare possession for Dick, who kicks it to Teakle, fumbles the mark. Oh, tragic for East Fremantle. Teakle, the veteran of 166 games, then Holt. Yeah, Holt just took too long. Kobe Stevens applied the tackle, and East Fremantle, in particular Leith Teakle, get out of jail.
I mean, a bad drop by Teakle, but at least he followed up. He didn't drop his bundle. He followed up and put some pressure on, which enabled Kobe Stevens to come in and lay the tackle properly. So they need this goal, East Fremantle.
Well,
we're nearly at half-time.
It's in pretty good hands.
He's had a better second quarter.
Yes, he has. And he's going to push off the fence, however. And he's going to have to kick it probably 45 metres, or best part thereof, from just inside the boundary line. Good-looking kick. Well done by Kobe Stevens. That's the sort of thing that can lift a team. It was a good tackle, and nothing near a smile on the face of Steve Malaxis, but he would be a little bit happier going or nearing half-time, Brad, than he was at quarter-time.
No doubt, and we spoke at quarter-time about what East Fremantle needed to do and how to go about it. They don't try and win it in one quarter. What they've done, I think they've now kicked 6 goals to 3, so that's a good start for them, and they go in with some confidence at half-time and say, OK, we can score quickly. We have outscored them 6-3 in that quarter. You know, let's take it into the third quarter and do the same again.
It's been a great quarter for them, East Fremantle. Their most successful quarter of the second term in 2012. They're back within a sniff. Back in the middle, Andrews won the tap. Ends up in the lap of Brock O'Brien, who's been thrown into the guts.
Don't mind that. That's good, Corbin. Sorry, mate.
Yep.
Well, he's come back on the ground, just break the shackles of someone playing on him, get him into the midfield, try and get a possession.
From the restart, Andrews down towards Kobe Stevens, the goal kicker. Loses the footy. Andrews now held up by Griffin. Comes out again. Murphy with it. Tackled by Hadley. Held in once more. Replay of that last stoppage. Andrews palms it down in front of Blackwell. Picked up by Griffin. Gets a kick going forward for East Fremantle. At the back, Crawford couldn't take the mark. Leaves it behind. Numbers with Claremont. Holt to Handley. Across the half-back line. Mark taken by Thompson. Plays on immediately. Out towards Blackwell, who is all alone on the outer wing. He takes the mark. And the 2011 Sandover medalist has got plenty of room to move. Hand pass inboard towards Laurie. Laurie with the short kick. Out towards Walton, who's drifted forward. The attacking edge of the square. Kicks long in the lead direction. Caught at the back. Dodd went the punch. Richardson had a hand on it. Charging through for the Sharks is Howlett. Clearing kick out towards half-back, and Menegola takes the mark.
Don't think Howlett looked, but he was able to find Menegola, who then goes short, making himself available. Brock O'Brien, so he's back and looking untroubled at the moment. Kicks it close to the boundary line, and the target was Sutcliffe. But again, East Fremantle going very, very wide. Haven't called the name of Cameron Sutcliffe very, very often so far in this match. Need to get a bit more from him and a few others.
Throw him into the midfield. I don't mind him. I think he's really hard at it. Something to offer.
Young in front, worked it down to McGough. His kick blanketed off the boot. Here's a chance for Rory O'Brien, supported by Dalziel. The umpire says they've got the advantage.
Oh, you're kidding.
Goes to...
What is happening?
Well, Weller got it. It ended up there with Mark McGough, and he had a shot at goal, went perilously close to the post, but it was a minor score only to East Fremantle.
Oh, wow. Everyone on the field has stopped, and he's called advantage and then continued to wave it on as everyone is looking at the umpire.
Wasn't a bad rugby pass from O'Brien.
He paid a push in the back.
Laurie short to Thompson. And Thompson has it in the back pocket. Called now to play on. Out towards half-back. Andrews the target. In from the side is Jones. Spills down towards Blackwell. Blackwell hooks the kick across the body. Down to the broadcast wing. Richardson knocked the footy free from Bayliss. Goes back and collects. Hand pass forward to Weller. Weller kicks inside the pocket. Looks a little wide. Stretching forward is Brennan. Takes a good mark. Just inside the paint.
If they could get one now, which is nearly on half-time, they've got the last 2 before half-time, just gives you a bit of impetus. Bit of Tex Walker about this one.
This will be 3 in a row. And Jacob Brennan.
Not much Tex Walker about that one.
Yeah, I know.
Out of bounds on the fall.
Brad Weir about that one. Johnny Walker.
5 goals the margin in favour of the Tigers, 33rd minute of this second term.
So the siren can't be far away. Luke Blackwell in the shadows of the grandstand. Claremont just looking to lock this down in the remaining few seconds, you would imagine, although a good mark taken there by Andrews for Claremont. So that will help. Sandover medalist Mitchell gives the ball back to him. We'll be seeing more of him in our half-time at the football package. Andrews chews up a bit of time, goes for a long kick to a contest. Kobe Stevens flew, couldn't take the mark. Handball fired out again by Blackwell, in dispute. Nisbet is there with Bayliss. A good, earnest, old-fashioned wrestle between those two.
What's he put his whistle away now, Justin Orr, has he? He's paid every time someone's gone down like earlier in the game, it's been high. Could have sworn that Bayliss was got hit in the head then.
Umpire Orr thumps the ball into the turf. Young tapped it down. McGough did well. Cross his body. Deflects off the shin there of Dalziel. Young came through. Taken off him by Mitchell. Swings it across his body. Didn't look. Blind kick has been marked down there by Tom Howlett. Howlett sets it up high. Who are the flyers down here? From the back, Crawford went the punch. That was the right thing to do. Foster was there in waiting. Was he taken high? No, holding the ball. Wow, that's a contentious one. Can Fremantle set up something from here? Luke Weller with the footy as the siren goes. Well, what might have been.
And the ball's up in the air. Going back to take the mark was Thompson, and Young has just absolutely charged at him after the siren has gone.
The book is coming out.
And it's just run straight through Thompson. The ball's up in the air, went to take the mark as the siren had gone, and Young has put his head down and just charged straight through him.
Well, Thompson is not well. You can see there in the hands of trainers and teammates. Well, you just don't expect that sort of thing after the siren has sounded. So that is not going to improve relations between the two sides. Andrews there and Richard Hadley just shouldering each other. So tensions are running very, very high. It's half-time in the 2012 Grand Final. Claremont 11-11, 77 are leading East Fremantle 7 goals 5. The margin is exactly 30 points.
Close to, if not East Fremantle's best player so far. He's got a couple of goals and he's had the better of Andrews in the ruck. He kicks along to the top of the goal square. Young down there, this could bounce through. Griffin's got East Fremantle's first 3 goals of the game.
And it lands right into the arms of Brock O'Brien. So more direct football required by East Fremantle. This is a powerful kick by Brock O'Brien. That's what he does best. 2 monster goals by East Fremantle. Here's Mitchell. Shrugs off Brennan. Goes with a short rubber. Picked up by Lee. He snapped from the pocket. What's been able to do? Great goal by Lee.
Kicks towards the top of the goal square. Young down there wrestling forward. Couldn't take the mark. Chance for Tinkle in the pocket. Squeezes the kick out and kicks the goal.
Well, there are the goal scorers to half-time. Paul Medhurst, 4 first-half goals for the Tigers. Mitchell has 2. Singles to Blackwell, Richardson, Lee, Foster and Shammer. And for the Sharks, Jonathan Griffin has kicked 3 goals. Terrific display by him. Teakle, Brock O'Brien, Kobe Stevens and Menegola each have 1 goal. And that is how the grand final has unfolded so far. A 47-point lead to the Tigers at quarter time, 8-6 to 1-1. It's looking in a lot better shape at half time, with the Tigers still leading though by 30 points, 11-11, 77 to the Sharks, 7-5, 47. Well, a good effort by East Fremantle to get themselves back in the game, because the deficit was looking pretty ugly at quarter time. To be 5 goals behind is still not a great position to be in, but you'd rather be in that position than what they looked like being at half time when it was quarter time.
Well, Lammy, it's fair to say at quarter time they were embarrassing East Fremantle. They just didn't play with anywhere near the right kind of passion. They didn't bring a game that was at finals level or finals tempo, and they got blown off the water out of the park by Claremont. But they came back, they showed a bit of spirit in that quarter. Look, there's a lot of work to be done still. You've got to favour Claremont still strongly, but at least we might get a game out of it. And I think that's what we all want. You don't want to see a grand final that's blown out in quarter 1 and we just sit here and go through the motions for the next 3. I just hope East Fremantle can replicate some of the intensity they played with in that quarter. They started to get a bit more control in the midfield. Blokes like Stevens and that started to get a bit of the ball, and they took some control, which gave them more opportunities forward. They've made a small inroad long way to go still.
Yeah, almost a 3-goal inroad, which is certainly better than nothing. It gives them something to work on during the long break. Well, now at half-time at the football, Rod Willett is going to take us through Sandover Medal night. It was held at the Perth Convention Centre on Monday night. It is, of course, most obviously the most glamorous and important social event, off-field event in the WAFL during the calendar year. And there was a fair bit of anticipation about it as well. There wasn't any one outright favourite, and it was a very interesting count indeed. So Rod Willett will take us through that, and we'll be back with more action here from Subiaco Oval after half-time at the footy.
Hello and welcome to the 92nd Sandover Medal count, a night of celebration where the who's who of football gather in the lead up to the WAFL Grand Final. It's a night for the players to let their hair down and for their partners to take centre stage. The Sandover Medal night is a night to honour past and current winners and welcome them into the Sandover Medal Club.
I think it makes you recognising your peers. I think playing against great players. In my time, I know it's a long while now since I've won at Sandover, but I was playing against great players, and to get recognised, to beat them, and the best in that field is a great honour and a great thrill.
Bill, a winner of the Sandover Medal 4 times. It must be a great night for you.
Oh, it's a magnificent night. The history of our game in Western Australia. It is one of the premier nights of our football calendar.
Time to catch up with old friends?
Oh yes, yeah. About once a year I think some of us catch up. That's about the only time we do catch up. A lot of reminiscing and tales to be told and stretching the truth a bit.
Ryan, a former winner, it must be a fantastic night. What's it mean to you?
Oh look, it's a great night for WA football, but as a former winner it's good to catch up with past winners. While you're playing, it's something you sort of don't really not pay attention to, but it's all about the club and the team and so forth, and it's a good accolade to have post-career, I think, and it's good to be acknowledged by the umpires and your peers of what you've done on field. So it's just a good night, and I'm pretty proud of the achievement.
And on behalf of the Sandover family, what's the night mean to you?
I think tradition. The WAFL has been going for probably close to 100 years. The Sandover family have been involved with the medals since 1921. I think it's got a lot of history. It started before the Brownlow medal, and luckily that tradition has continued. I think it's one of the only awards where the original donors are still actually involved, and I think it's a true honour. Before the count starts, Ben Saunders from South Fremantle is awarded the Bernie Naylor Medal for the leading goal kicker of the season, with an impressive 66 goals for the home and away season. When the count got underway, it didn't take long to see who was in the hunt for this year's Sandover.
Claremont, Kane Mitchell, 3 votes.
By rounds 9 and 10, it was clear who the front runners would be for the night. Kane, you're leading the count after round 10. How's the rest of the count go for you?
Yeah, I think I go okay after this. Fall in a bit of a hole. People start to play on me, so I think the end of the year is hopefully that's when I play my best footy.
Mark running second at the moment in the Sandover Medal count. Kane Mitchell looks pretty good at the moment. How do you think you fare for the rest of the night?
Yeah, I think Kane's gone really well. I think he'll had a really strong finish to the season, so I think he'll win it for sure.
How did your season finish off?
Oh, not as good as my start, so yeah, that's why I think Kane will be a good chance. Yeah.
Kane Mitchell, 5 votes.
When the count resumed, it became very clear that Kane Mitchell's outstanding season was to continue.
And Claremont, Kane Mitchell, 5 votes. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the 2012 Sandover Medal from the Claremont Football Club on 58 votes, Kane Mitchell.
I now have great pleasure on behalf of the Sandover family in presenting you with the Sandover Medal for the fairest and best player for the 2012 season.
My nana Dot, for always telling me not to get hurt and bragging about me to daycare on Fridays. Yeah, she thinks I should have won by more, but lucky she doesn't vote. I know that you'll still be bragging up there and telling everyone how good I am, so thanks, Nan, for looking over me. To Nana Dawn for all the Tuesday night dinners. Sometimes they're not the healthiest things, but I do enjoy them. And the $20 match payments that she gives me every week.
Mark, 51 votes. Probably any other count, you would have won it. How are you feeling?
Oh yeah, pretty happy. I was pretty happy to get that many votes, to be honest. So, Kane obviously did really well to finish with an equal high or equal record amount of votes. So, no, I was really happy to get 51. Yeah, been a good night.
Did you thought you played well this year, in your own opinion?
Yeah, I had a bit better season than last year, so I was happy with that. I still feel that next year is probably, and the year after, I can still really improve. So, whether it's Sandover votes or just helping West Perth get to a premiership.
Kane Mitchell polled 58 votes in the end to equal 2006 Sandover Medal winner Matt Priddis.
Mate, that's just phenomenal. I still can't believe it. So, I mean, Priddis is just a great footballer, and to be there is, mate, I can't believe it.
Has it sunk in, just the honour of winning the medal?
Not yet, mate, not yet. Yeah, I'm on cloud 9 at the moment. I don't really know what to say. It's just massive, it's huge, yeah, it's really big.
It's been a fairy tale end to the year for Kane Mitchell. He won this year's count with 58 votes, 7 votes over his nearest rival. With his football future assured, Kane Mitchell now joins an elite list of WAFL legends. And that was the 2012 Sandover Medal. Congratulations to Kane Mitchell, who polled an amazing 58 votes. He now cements his name in West Australian football history.
Yes, the WAFL's Night of Nights every year, and a great event at the Perth Convention Centre. And Kane Mitchell, a very deserving winner, Judgy.
Yeah, and he's played well today in the first half. So he hasn't had any Sandover Medal hangover, I can assure you of that.
Well, one of the great highlights of his career, and there have been a lot of highlights in the season, in the WAFL season of 2012. And we're going to look, first of all, at some of the wonderful marks that have been taken during the course of this year. Comes down to Bristow. Bristow's hurry kick to centre half forward, and a very strong mark has been taken by Sinclair. Is that a mark? What a great mark taken there, just by the behind post. Shepherd getting to the front edge of the centre square, kicks it up towards centre half forward, and we call that a diving slips catch. Long kick into the goal spot, a leap from Gillespie. Big fly and a good grab, McInnes. Great fly there from Duffy. Out of the context, a great mark being taken by Strike. The kick to the pocket. Holmes get on the end of it, he's held on. Well, that's a great mark by Smith. He kicks long to the hot spot. Big fly from Saunders. Oh, what a mark by Walters. Drilled it in with the right hand. Oh, trying to take the juggling mark is Deluca, and that is a great effort. Lands in the goal square. Great mark. Oh, good work by Lee. Magamba. Man getting a run here. Tico, big climb. The ball toward full forward. Having the sit there was Manning. Here's a high mark from McGovern. Second game back from a break. Big fly, McInnes. Roberts from a standing start. Has he got the journey? It doesn't matter. From the back, sets himself. Douglas, the target, put one hand up, and then on the second attempt is able to hold the mark. Puts it to the right forward pocket. Front position. That's a great grab to Morton. This is carrying a long way. Oh, magnificent mark. High kicking towards full forward. That's a mark. He picks it up very high from back. Entertainment again. The high flyer is Walters. High ball. Couldn't knock it there by Gordon. And eyes on the footy all the way. Shoots forward into the pocket. And a good mark has been taken by Batty. And a mark right on the goal line by Chambers. Flopping over. It's a wonderful mark by Fly. Looks for Walters. Big set and takes a good mark. From behind Fowler. He has got some ability. Drives the ball inside the attacking 50 for line. And Hampson down there. A one-hander. Gee, some great marks there. Difficult to pick a winner. Luckily, we don't have to, Judge, but can't the little man's on occasions take a great mark? Michael Walters featured 3 or 4 times there, and he's a brilliant athlete, isn't he?
Well, it was his form in the end at Swans after sort of copping a bit of the wrath of the coach in the pre-season. It took him a long time to get in the Docker side. He became a really important player for him. We saw some of his form there with some of those marks. It was terrific.
I think playing at the AFL is where he belongs. Let's now have a look at some of the goals of season 2012.
Kicks high. 2-on-1 here. Holmes is always outnumbered. Dan, clever kick into space. Can he run onto it? He'll soccer it again. There's no one in front of him. There's 3 Tigers chasing him. And they're making up ground, although 2 of them go to ground, including Morton. set.
And away he goes. Look at the explosive speed from the 32-year-old. Kicks from 45 metres. What a great goal by Neon Leon. Snaps across the face. Hanson nearly the one-hander. Still keeps the ball alive. Gathered it brilliantly. Well, he's in good form, isn't he? Perham snaps on goal from in front of the East Fremantle members reserve, and he's got his third. Run down from behind and dispossessed. Now strike. Very acute. Snap across his body from the boundary line.
Bounces past two players. Stack was there at the back together. No one in front of him, so Stack has to show some pace. A couple of bounces. He's still going, Stack, and another terrific goal for the Demons. Got it back again. Snap towards goal is absolutely first rate from Blackwell.
Wheeler up towards Anthony. Couldn't take the mark. Recovery first class. Snaps on goal and he's kicked it. Here's a chance for Jaden Woods. Needs to kick a goal on this occasion. Cross his body with the left boot and one of the goals of the day.
Back to the middle, Clark again. Moss straight hands to the goal kicker, Comma, who can run to 60 and send it deep. Smith one-on-one with Rumble. It clears both men and rolls through for a goal.
Bouncing ball out in front of Broadhurst. Goes to ground, the numbers with the Sharks. Keeping his feet is Brock O'Brien. Runs away with it. One bounce, closes to about 60 metres out. Gets the kick going goalward as he snuck it through. That is a great effort.
Palmed it down, but it's sharp by Saunders. He throws the ball onto his boot. That's a great shot by Saunders. Walters is there. Takes it on the first bounce. He is a left footer. Snaps on goal. If that wasn't touched, that's a goal of the game.
Slick hands from Swan, finds Crozier, closes to 15 out and kicks the goal.
Got it back to Menegola, who can line them up here. He winds up from 51. That is a thumping effort.
Butler under siege from behind, got a kick away. Ends up with Donovan. Maybe had a bit more time than that. Oh, he spins around, kicks the goal of the day. Stalisic roves it at the front of the pack, kicks from the boundary line and scores the goal of the day.
Holmes touches down, has a look over the shoulder, stabs at it and kicks a wonderful goal.
DeLuca with strength and skill gathers the footy onto the left boot. He's kicked his third.
He tried to pinpoint a target, didn't quite carry to Pryor. Although Phil from McCauley front and square and he snaps a beauty.
Barton gets back to his feet, hooks across the body. That is a great effort from Darcy Barton.
He can give it off to Riggio. They keep running Swans out in front of Hanson and again just use the body well, turns around, controls the bounce, runs in and slots it. What a fabulous finish.
Gives it back to Headland. He'll snap around the body. Where will the ball land? It'll bounce right on the high line. No, through for a goal. What a terrific kick by Des Headland.
Is it going to bounce kindly? It does. Yes, it does. Smith eventually gets there. Not taking a mark, but Bradshaw recovered brilliantly. Snaps on goal. Is that his fourth? He should run into an open goal and kick a major here for Subiaco. Anthony fumbled. Did he soccer it through at the end? I think the second attempt might have been successful. Oh, soccering it off the ground there was Matt Batty. Right full forward pocket, beautifully knocked down from Clark to Moss, and Moss snapping with the left boot.
Here's Bradshaw with it, hand pass inside to Fong, fine shot at goal, and Fong drills it from the left forward pocket.
He certainly is a player with ability, so is Marnie by the look of it. Takes the mark, plays on into the open goal square, and Marnie from a long, long way out. Lysette puts a fist into it. Rode cleverly by Riggio, who snaps on goal and he's put it through.
And a second, and a third, and he's still going. A fourth bounce for Duffy. Still runs towards the top of the arc. This would be some goal for East Fremantle.
The fist from Charters, front and square to scores. Steps around the body. The youngster has kicked a miraculous goal.
Well, a great selection of the marks and goals from 2012. Judgy, a lot of highlights there. It's really what happens here at Subiaco Oval today that is going to be remembered longest and spoken about most. East Fremantle, 5 goals behind at half-time. Claremont have really asserted themselves and, if any team's going to hit the wall first, it's going to be East Fremantle. So they really are backs up against it at the moment, aren't they?
Well, look, they are. And once again, I mean, they need to go into this quarter not thinking let's be in front at three-quarter time. Let's try and cut it back by 3 or 4 goals a game this quarter, leave them a goal or 2 behind at three-quarter time, East Fremantle, and they're probably in the game. But, look, you've still got to favour Claremont. They've been the better side. They've probably left the door slightly open, which I often say, Lanny, because
yes.
they've had 22 scoring shots to 12. They could have really put East Fremantle away probably in that first half. They've left it slightly open. East Fremantle to come in and try and be in the game still at three-quarter time.
Well, there are the consolidated stats to half-time. You can see there's nothing much in the possessions at all. It's the way that the Tigers have used the ball extremely well. Nothing much in the marks either. But East Fremantle getting back with their inside 50s in that second quarter. They really did work extremely hard there. And we look at the centre breaks.
Centre breaks is the other area. If they're going to get in this game, they've got to control the centre breaks. They did in that quarter. They had better control than Claremont did. If they're going to be in this game at three-quarter time, they need to try and control that area again this quarter.
So some really good signs there for the Sharks, but there is a half of football to go. Let's go down now to the boundary line, where our boundary riders, Rod Willett and Todd Ridley, are standing by.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And 47 points at quarter time now. 30 points at half-time, Todd. Going to be very tough for East Fremantle to get back in, but what we can start with first, guys, is that late hit after the siren went on James Thompson. It was Rob Young. He has been reported for rough conduct, so he goes into the umpire's book, but certainly East Fremantle not out of it, but they need to work really hard. They have to win the midfield. They have to get that contested ball out of the middle, Todd, if they're going to be a chance.
Yeah, Jonathan Griffin, obviously one of their better players, but McGovern and Andrews are doing a good job in the middle there. Claremont are still getting the ball out of the middle and going forward. Their midfielders are still kicking plenty of goals. The concern for Claremont, I guess, would be if Tom Lee can come out after half-time. Had 2 knocks to both knees, so he's cooled down a bit. That'll be interesting. But East Fremantle, tough from here, Rod. They played a tough game last week against Swan Districts in the heat. They played the week before. Claremont are fresher. I'm thinking Claremont still.
That's going to be one of the big questions. How much energy has East Fremantle used in that sort of first half to get themselves back in the game? It is pretty warm out in the sun when you're not in the shade, so it's going to zap them a little bit. But let's hope we're in for a fantastic second half.
Yep, that we are, Rod. I'm quite sure about that. It's going to get away from the Sharks pretty quickly, Brad. The second half can disappear very quickly indeed, so they need to make inroads in the first couple of minutes. They've got their numbers looking a lot better, their centre breaks and inside 50s, but they're going to have to hit the scoreboard in a real hurry.
They do, but they just don't need to get carried away in trying to win it in the third quarter. They've still got half a game of footy to go. Slowly, just work their way.
So a free kick has already been given away. The second half hasn't even started, and it's going to be a free kick that you could see that there was a tremendous amount of feeling just before halftime. Robert Young's name was put in the book for rough conduct, and he's going to get, controversially enough, the free kick.
What's happening here?
There was a punch to the midriff, Jess is telling me.
Oh, so now he's going to start and give him the free kick. I was trying to work out what he was doing.
You thought he was going to bounce it there?
I did, yes.
So Rob Young with the first kick of the second half goes inside the forward 50. Out to meet it was Crawford, slips out the back, McGough in the pocket, a snap for Reece Freo, and that is the dream start. The Sharks are back within 24 points. A free kick, a long kick inside 50. And here it is, James Thompson.
Let's have a look at this.
On your screen.
Oh, wow. Free kick. God. It's not only a free kick, it's a free kick at the end of the centre square.
Please.
So James Thompson just taking umbrage to the hit on him. And gee, Martin McGough, isn't he something of a big game player?
Well, he is. But let me say, if they're going to focus their attentions on Rob Young here, this will let East Fremantle back in the game. They're going to forget what's happened. It happened. I know they're not happy about it. Just get on and play the game, Claremont. But, they've given away a free kick there. Forget it. Get on and play the game.
Good for the game as Andrew stands his ground, wins the tap. Murphy ran into a tackle. Looked as though it could have been high, but he did lead with his head, and the umpire has given East Fremantle the benefit of the doubt. Let's go to Claremont's bench and Todd Ridley.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. What a great start to the third quarter. Swift, Whedon, Walton and Nesbitt all starting on the bench for the Tigers.
This time it's Griffin. Oh, beautifully read too by Jacob Brennan. Takes a bounce, puts on the accelerator, kicks from 40. There was a bit of a lunge on him, but it's another goal. 1 minute and 20 seconds into the third quarter, and East Fremantle have already kicked 2. Look at the elation. That is going to do their spirit an enormous amount of good. Great ruck work by Griffin and Jacob Brennan. Well, I've been waiting for him to have a real impact, and there he has.
Well, let me tell you, Griffin is a bloke who I reckon has been really good in the first half in a side that wasn't going well. If Griffin can stand up, he's a bloke that can really put his stamp on this game. And that effort there was fantastic by him.
Well, he's put his stamp on the game already. Now Jacob Brennan. And this is, well, we mentioned a dream start initially, Corbin. Now 2 in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
They've kicked 8 of the past 11. East Fremantle, after Claremont flew out of the blocks and led 8 goals to 1 at quarter time. Back in the middle, Murphy taken high, free kick.
Straight up there, let him go. Right on it.
So Murphy, he goes across the ground to Jess Laurie, one of 15 premiership players from last year out there for Claremont. He'll go out further wide to Subin. The inclusion for the injured captain and Andrew Brown inside the pocket. Medhurst reaching for it, couldn't mark at the back. Schofield grabs the footy, now dispossessed, picked up by Dodd. Handpass misses the target in Stevens. Jones running back, lays the shepherd for Stevenson. Hooks the kick across the body right to the top of the goal square. Standing underneath it and marking is Howlett. Let's go down and check in with the Sharks bench. Rod Willett.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. We got Richard Hadley, Lee Teakle, Luke Weller and James Bayliss all on the bench, all fit, ready to go.
Howlett's been in terrific form this year. Goes with a long kick to a big pack. The ball comes to the front of that pack. Here's Shammer lurking, putting the head down. Richardson feeds a hand pass to Murphy. Had it for too long, then through the footy. Talk about lifting the tempo. The Sharks have come out really fired up after half-time. Dalziel's tackle was a beauty. He finds Griffin having an enormous influence. Left half back. Griffin to a one-on-one. Menegola gets in front of Stevenson. Can't take the mark. McGough, the ball got past him, so too Shammer, but straight through the interchange gates. And Mark McGough says, well, while I'm here, I might as well have a bit of a sit down.
Just need to settle the Tigers, Ken, don't they? Just take a deep breath. Some of their leaders just slow the footy down. I know it's only 3 minutes in, but just for 30 seconds a minute.
Griffin in from the side. It was won, though, by Andrews. Dalziel in there. Hadley. Hand pass, though. It was intercepted pretty well there by Blackwell, but then the tackle was sensational too by Henson. And that tackle, just the way he put Blackwell down is indicative of the mindset of East Fremantle. Only 4 minutes gone in this third quarter, but really the Sharks are starting to tell us a story.
They've made it physical, East Fremantle. Griffin won the tap. Stevens on the bottom of the pack. It rolls away from him. Andrews jumps involved. The footy's not coming out. The umpire calls for a bounce. East Fremantle, their first grand final today in 12 years. Their last premiership some 14 years ago. The longest drought in the club's history. And blown away at the start. They're right back in the game within 3 goals as Andrews squeezes a kick out on the logo, gathered by Mitchell, and he's ramped up immediately by O'Brien, who jumps back on top of the footy. Umpire calls for a bounce once more.
Cast your mind back to the start of the game. There wasn't East Fremantle players jumping in like they are in the first 4 minutes.
No, they've definitely come out with a different intensity in this start of this third quarter.
Griffin and Andrews, as it has been all day. Andrews just knocks it forward. Richardson, hand pass out wide to Walton. Gets it on towards Blackwell. Blackwell kicks inside the forward 50. Lee at the top of the goal square. Goes to ground. Plenty of Sharks around. Brown, one of them, hands it back towards Howlett. Howlett's kick out towards halfback. Only man there is Mitchell. Needs a kind bounce. He won't get one. Lands back in the lap of Rory O'Brien. Hand pass away towards Kobe Stevens. The Sharks off the halfback flank. Kick down the outer wing, trying to find Dick. Falls at the back towards Young, who's on report. Kicks inside the centre square. Footy bounces out in front of Hadley. Hadley kicks to centre half forward for East Fremantle. In from the side is Laurie. Gets the spoil away. Gathered now by Crawford. He's tackled immediately and taken to ground. Umpire just floats around the pack and eventually he calls for a bounce at centre half forward.
Just a criticism of Brad Dick. He's got to get front and square to those contests. He's getting side on to the contest every time. He did it in the second quarter as well. He should be crumbing those balls front and square.
Some nervous moments for Mark Webb. We saw him in the coach's box just a moment ago. Beautiful take there by Blackwell. Hand passed at close quarters to Shammer. A real up and under out on the centre wing. Great grab on the second bite there by Howlett. Some of his aerial feats have been terrific, especially in the latter part of this season. He goes to centre half forward proper. In front was Subban, but at ground level, Menegola, who's been a telling player, waits the ball for O'Brien, who backs into the pack. Eyes on the footy, never deviated. He's marked the ball 30 metres out and should be able to slot this through.
Well, it was good courage in running back with the flight of the ball. It was a case of, that's where Angels fear to tread. You've got no idea what's coming.
But he was greatly assisted by Luke Weller, who just worked his man out of it.
Run here, Rory.
So O'Brien, not a prolific goal scorer, but he really should be able to go back and put this through. Won't this put
there you go.
I was going to say the cat amongst the canary, canary amongst the cats. If he can put this through. 7 minutes tick over as Rory O'Brien comes in, sends it on its way. He slips over as he goes. Doesn't matter. The Sharks are back in business. 10 goals, 565. Just a 12-point ball game. Claremont 11-11, and they are under siege.
Well, they have, and look, they've started well, East Fremantle. They've just got to maintain this kind of intensity and this kind of pressure because they've done all the attacking in the first 7 minutes. They're back in the game, and thank goodness from the spectacle of a game that hopefully we've got a contest on our hands now.
This is not out of the textbook when you have a shot at goal and end up like that.
No, exactly.
But if you want to celebrate, you can do it in comfort.
They've kicked 5 in a row, East Fremantle.
Don't push him in!
They're certainly coming, the Sharks. That's why they don't give out the cup after quarter time, Judgy. 8 goals to 1. Claremont led at that stage. Oh, absolutely. Andrews down towards Walton. He's tackled. Just ferocious East Fremantle to start this second half. And taken high is Murphy. You get the free kick.
The third time, I reckon, in this quarter, Murphy's been taken high.
Averages over 4 free kicks a game, the most of any player in the WAFL. Goes out to the outer wing, Crawford. Short to Blackwell. Jake Murphy, 49 free kicks in 13 home and away games. The next best, O'Brien, 45 in 20.
And it was O'Brien who gave that one away to him.
A long kick out towards half forward. It's knocked over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in at half forward for Claremont.
How can they get Dick into the game?
Well, he can be a match winner. If they can get him into the game, he can turn the thing on its ear.
The boundary throw in. Griffin palms it down to Walton. Gang tackled straight away. And we'll have another bounce at half forward.
It's been terrific, Griffin.
And he's in ruck again opposed to Andrews. A lot of pushing, a lot of strength. Griffin wins it. Didn't direct it all that well. Walton, a falling hand pass. Looked as though there could have been a push in the back. Dick is around the footy at the moment, but it's not going anywhere. And the player's just waiting for the whistle to go. Eventually, that of umpire or does. And see Walton there, and that was a beautiful rugby pass. Nothing like a handball. Bounces a crooked one. Foster knocks it toward Nisbet. Was he pushed in the back? The umpire says no. And again, players go to ground the ball underneath them.
Lemmy, can you explain why that umpire wouldn't have taken that ball back?
It has to bounce into the 50, 35 metres to the advantage, as opposed to 20.
Yeah, okay.
I'm hoping Bradley explained that well enough. I couldn't understand a word of it. Griffin again, this time untroubled. Maybe he needed to put a bit more distance into it. Foster had it. He was put to ground. This is an untidy bit of play, but gee, it's an important one for East Fremantle. Griffin had it. He was dispossessed. Nisbet is in there as well. This time Dick gets the clearing kick to Robbie Young. Feeds a hand pass out to O'Brien. Was he pushed in the back? Umpire says no. Releases the footy. Walton, this time the hand pass is good. To McGovern. One step. High kick long in toward the goal square. This time Howlett doesn't take the mark. Probably should have. Head down under a lot of pressure. In the end it was Dodd who worked the ball over the goal line, rushed behind for Claremont, and Dodd gets up a bit gingerly.
I worry when the ball gets below Tom Howlett's knees.
And Schofield's away, kicks down towards the half-back flank. Unable to take the mark in there, Delzeel. Dick gets a hand pass away towards Rory O'Brien. Handball further afield to no one in particular. Picked up by Tommy Swift. He goes back by hand to Thompson. Thompson inboard looking for Murphy. Couldn't take the mark. Yeah, got a little push and a free kick going Murphy's way. 13 points the margin in favour of the Tigers. But East Fremantle have kicked the last 5. Critical point in this game.
Justin Orr might nearly get in the votes for the Simpson Medal. He's been that much involved in the play today.
As Weirden goes out towards Swift.
Keep him in line for the Simpson, Brad.
Can you vote for yourself?
So Swift down towards...
Well, he's kicked a couple of goals.
Left half forward, Howlett takes a strong mark over the back of Richardson.
Well above his knees.
Thank goodness.
So Tommy Howlett, former East Perth player. Finished top 5 in the goal kicking last year at East Fremantle and has now filled a key post in defence for East Fremantle this year. Long to Young, who takes the mark on the outer wing. Horrible kick.
What was he thinking?
Mark taken by Blackwell, goes across the ground to Crawford. Crawford stabs the kick. Gee, there's only East Fremantle players out here. Dodd first to it, and Henson gathers the footy. Dodd goes to lay the Shepherd, slips over. Henson kicks downfield. Mark taken by Delzeel. Weird and a long way from Brock O'Brien. Delzeel goes inboard. Kobe Stevens running for him. Kick inside the left forward pocket. O'Brien outstretched. Laurie couldn't take the mark. Grabs the footy. They wrestle for it and they walk over the boundary. We'll have a throw in inside East Fremantle's forward 50.
couple of ordinary kicks from both sides. Young's one across the middle here, and then Crawford's one out here for Claremont.
Yeah, I think Young's takes the cake though.
Yep.
For being a dangerous kick. Griffin at full stretch, got a fingernail to it. Taken by Blackwell, under the weight of a tackle, got it to Swift. He hand passes to Subban. His kick, an absolute grubber, almost Andrew Embley-ish, but it got to Walton. Feeds it off to Stevenson. Lewis Stevenson's good vision, I think, out wide. Richardson works Stephen off the footy, then uses Handley. Handley a long hand pass, a bit dangerously. Richardson gets to it, but Stephen is right with him. Well done, Richardson, under enormous pressure. Got the ball onto his boot and onto Medhurst. Brilliant play by Richardson.
Was very good under some real pressure.
Now Medhurst, low and hard into the pocket, pitches at the feet there of Lee, flips a hand pass up to Nisbet, throws it immediately onto his boot, floats it up high, bounces nicely for Dalziel, hand pass to Bayliss. East Fremantle looking for an out here, uses the long sweeping hand pass to Sutcliffe. Now Sutcliffe forced to kick to a one-on-one, Griffin with the height gets rid of his opponent and the ball bounces off Dick and Subban, one or the other or both.
That might have nearly been off Dick's boot.
I'm just not too sure what it came off in the end. Jonathan Griffin going to have a spell. They're going to need him fresh. They're in a good position at the moment, East Fremantle. Boundary throw in immediately below us here.
Haven't got much out of their big fellas today, Judgy. Talking about Claremont, Lee and Jones. Between them, just one goal. Lee spent a fair bit of time in the medical room as well. Kobe Stevens, Swift a little worse for wear. Hanson gets the kick going forward. Good pack mark from Trinity Hanley. At centre half back.
Swift on his shoulder.
See Tommy Swift there, shoulder colliding with Kobe Stevens, his West Coast teammate.
Handley's in a bit of trouble as well. That was a brilliant mark. I'm not sure he can take his kick. This could be blood rule.
Good courage by Handley.
It was a brilliant kick. I'm not too sure if he knows where he is. No, he might be... can't see blood. Perhaps there is blood on his right side. We're not seeing it there, but he had no hesitation putting the ball on the ground.
Fantastic courage to mark that. Have a look at that.
Marvellous mark. He might have got poked in the eye. Poked in the eye, I think.
So Swift and now Hanley, both off the ground. In a couple of minutes, Holt's kick, a dangerous one. Weirden couldn't take the mark. Here's Fremantle in the middle of the ground. Stevens' hand pass picked off by Subban out towards Shauner, hit him in the back of the neck. Goes down towards Stevenson, kicks to centre half forward, outstretched, Stephen unable to take the mark, picked up by Cooper, hand pass away towards Howlett, Schofield under pressure, gave it off to Bayliss, runs across the half back line, brings it down the northern side of the ground, draws the player in Jones, hand pass to Brown, another free kick here, has been paid as the wrestle develops between Brown and Lee. It'll be Brown's free kick. Left half back.
You just feel, Ken, they're getting a little bit nervous, the Claremont boys.
They're just getting a bit agitated, Claremont. They're just trying to square up and they're just giving a few little cheap kicks away themselves. They've lost their control.
Got to remember how they got to 6 goals to 1 and the way they went about it.
Oh, that kick isn't great. Looking to stab the pass. Brown has put it out of bounds on the fall. Todd Ridley's on the boundary.
Yeah, Trinity Hanley's just got a poke in the eye. He should be fine in a moment. And Tommy Swift looks like his shoulder popped out, but it's come back in as the crowd are really firing up down here.
Because Andrew Foster has not brought the footy back into play.
They've just got rattled, so East Fremantle need to take advantage while they can. While they're in this rattled state, you've got to put scoreboard pressure on. That's what East Fremantle need to do.
Well, under these circumstances, Andrew Foster's effort then left a lot to be desired.
It did.
It'll be thrown in because he actually didn't bring the ball back into the field of play at all.
Swift's going straight down to the rooms, Phil. Doesn't look too good.
No, that is not a good sign. They need Hanley back out there pretty quickly. Young doing some ruck work opposed to Andrews, who does well. This time he gives the hand pass off to Foster. Foster's hurry kick into the pocket. Medhurst didn't quite get there, and it was a good effort by Bayliss to get a fist into it. He started off a bit shakily, Bayliss, Judgy, but he certainly has settled and he's done some good things under pressure. Andrews and Young both wrestling. The ball comes out for Howlett from his knees. Support from Kobe Stevens. Hand pass may be dubious. Oh, but it goes to Richardson anyway. He's on his non-preferred side. Doesn't matter. Directs it through from the pocket. Great effort by Richardson. A little bit of brilliance is just what Claremont needed to steady the ship. They move to 12-12. East Fremantle are still coming. 10-5-65, but a bit of breathing space.
It's a really good finish, Ken, isn't it, from a left footers. Traditionally can't kick that well on their opposite side, but he's done the work on that, and actually a really, really good finish at a super important time.
Well, that's just what they need. A bit of a steadier there for Claremont. So East Fremantle have got to reply now. They've got to get the next one to stay in touch.
So 2 goals to his credit this afternoon. And that one probably couldn't have come at a better time. 17.5 minutes got in the term.
Ian Richardson in his 3rd grand final today. Remember the premiership winning team last year. Andrews wins it down towards Blackwell, kicks out towards half forward. Foster out to meet it. The former Shark hand pass away towards Nisbet. Kicks inside 50 for the Tigers. Jones is there on the bottom of the pack. Brown holds it in. Jones tackles him. Will have a bounce.
Strength from the defender.
It's their small forwards have done the damage. Richardson with 2, Meadows with 4. Mitchell's got a couple pushing down from the midfield.
Just one between Lee and Jones. Richardson doing the ruck work here. Won it down towards Foster, just couldn't pick it up. Henson by hand goes back to Cooper. Jams it on the boot, high up and under. Howlett underneath it. Knocked away from the side by McGovern. And out of bounds. We'll have a throw in at half forward.
Gee, Tommy Howlett, what was he doing then? Get your hands up, champ.
Yes, he thought he was in a position to take a chest mark.
That last goal from Claremont, their first since the 20-minute mark of the 3rd quarter. From the throw-in, not going anywhere in a hurry. Kobe Stevens becomes the tackler. And you can see Nick Subin on the bottom of the pack will have a bounce at half forward.
Liked his game. I thought Subin's been pretty good for the Tigers.
So right half forward flank for Claremont. Deep in the 3rd quarter, Griffin wins the tap. Hunting the footy there was Walton, couldn't take it, but Shammer finds it, gives it off to Foster. He was collared. Nisbet brilliant with his handball, gave it to Walton. Had to be quick onto the boot, he was. And under that pressure, it would have been an unlikely goal. Missed it by a long way. But the Tigers just starting to stabilise a little bit as we tick over 19 minutes in this quarter. The 3rd, often referred to as the premiership quarter. Stevens, long kick to a Griffin contest. He got rid of Andrews there unceremoniously. I don't think the Claremont supporters liked it. Griffin takes the mark, goes with a long kick. Young and Thompson in a bit of a wrestle. At ground level, Crawford does well. To the composed Blackwell, gets himself clear before he delivers. Finds Andrews. Hand pass to Walton, who's busy. Walton's kick not particularly good off the boot. Wobbled a bit, but Medhurst in the right position at the right time. Or am I being unkind to Rory Walton?
Well, you just got to play in front. That's what you do as a forward, because you never know how they're going to come in. It wasn't a great kick. Come off halfway between his ankle and his knee.
Looked off the side of the boot, but maybe he was directing it toward Medhurst. Doesn't matter. Medhurst has it. Just a couple of steps. Look at that kick. Towering ball through the middle. Claremont have got another one. Medhurst straight to the bench. 20 minutes into the quarter. And Claremont just a little bit more than steady now. 13-13, 91. East Fremantle 10-5.
Well, there was a little talk as to whether Medhurst should have got a game firstly in the second semi and then whether he should have got chosen again today. So for him to bob up and kick 5 is a really good effort. But he's that sort of player. I mean, he's got the ability to turn on a performance on big occasions. He's done that so far today. So 5 goals, a great return. They've just steadied really well here, Claremont.
I was down in the rooms.
They've certainly put the ball back in East Fremantle court here.
In the rooms before the game, in Claremont's rooms, there was no one more focused than Paul Medhurst.
Tom Swift back on the ground. Phil's all strapped up. Maybe a bit of help there from a pain injection. He should be right. I'll check that at 3/4 time.
Back to 26 points. Restart in the centre. Andrews first hands on the footy, but McGough the takeaway for the Sharks. Comes out wide with his kick. Weirden leading back in the chase for the footy. Wello at the bump. And Weirden went over the boundary. Jerick Whedon, a new role for him this season, playing down back for Claremont.
Does he survive on the West Coast list, Ken?
Oh, I think it's line ball.
Boundary throw in. Andrews won it down. Dragged off his kick was Teakle. The opposite number 3, Blackwell. The hand pass away to his fellow Sandover medalist in Mitchell. Now to centre half back. Here's Stevenson out towards Holt. He grabs the footy. Tackled immediately by Dalziel. Eventually releases it. Well, shaking the tackle was Stevenson. Did well for Claremont. Kicks inside the centre square. Shammer, the first goal kicker of the afternoon, takes the mark. Shammer plays on. Gives it out wide to the runner in Holt. Holt goes to Foster, who takes the mark. He's around and called to play on. Bayliss closes him down. Foster kicks towards the top of the goal square. Lee and Dodd down there. Dodd gets to the better position and takes the mark.
Has he gone?
Stephen Dodd, over 100 AFL games. Played in all 4 finals now over the last couple of seasons for East Fremantle. in just their second final series in 10 years. Out towards half-back, offhand, spills down towards Howlett. Squeezes the kick to the run of Kobe Stevens. He draws the shepherd here from Young and keeps going down the outer side. Stevens kicks the centre half forward and Delzil is on. Takes the mark just inside the 50-metre arc.
Gee, that was a great kick, Ken, wasn't it?
Very good kick. Good vision.
Is he a chance with the distance there, Judgy?
I reckon it's just on his limit, Phil.
Brad Delzil, 9 goals, 4 for the season in the 9 matches he's played.
Well, they need it badly.
The Tigers with the last couple to push it back out to 26 points after East Fremantle closed within 13. Delzil, slightly right of centre, kicks from 49 metres out. The blue and white goes up behind the goals. Delzil's happy with it. The Sharks back to 20 points. 11-5, they trail Claremont 13-13.
Well, they need it back to 20. You've just got to, as you said at the summary at half-time, if they could just be a couple behind at three-quarter time, East Fremantle, they'd see themselves as being well and truly in this game. I mean, you still got to favour Claremont, I keep saying that. I think for us to dismiss Claremont and think that they're just going to fall away here, it's not going to happen. So East Fremantle are going to have to bring their A-grade game from here on in to one, stay in touch with them, and 2, to give themselves any chance of winning.
Well, good news for Claremont. Tom Swift back out on the ground. He left the field looking as though his day might be over.
He's got to bounce it again.
Or throw it up.
Or whatever he's got to do.
You can see the time clock there, 24 minutes into this third quarter.
Yep.
Still time for a goal or two, you'd have to say. So this centre clearance, most important. Griffin got it down. Hadley just left it behind. Murphy didn't. Murphy onto the boot. Tumbles it up toward the half-forward line. Jones and Brown doing battle there. Swift straight into the action. Caught. Dispossessed. Jones gets a hand pass out. Didn't clear the area. Hadley came in there where Angels fear to tread. The whistle goes and there'll be a ball up.
That's it.
Murphy and Walton have been really good at the stoppages for the Tigers in this quarter.
Yeah, Murphy all day. Walton in this quarter in particular, I think, has just been terrific around the stoppages. Big men go at it again. Andrews, I think, got a hand to it this time. Subban spun, took them on. He held onto it for a while. Got away with it, Subban. The kick off the side of the boot. Lands, though, with Swift. Couldn't take it. Under pressure as he took the kick. Gets to the goal square, however, from behind Howlett. Kobe Stevens crumbing it. Now Schofield, blind kick. It's going to end up with Murphy, although running with him is Delzil. Murphy's got a couple to beat, taking in a pretty good tackle. Umpire lets this one go. Jacob Brennan over the top. And there will be another ball up.
Who was that? Delzil, was it, that made up ground there? Fantastic play. Because he looked out of that contest.
Well, he's one of 14 players out there who's got an AFL training regime to back him up in this critical game. Claremont have got 6 and East Fremantle 8.
From the restart, Andrews palms it straight down the throat of Rory O'Brien, rather. He's tackled and will do it all again.
Richard, let go.
The feeling in this game, as you can see. There's a bit of a history involving that man, Richard Hadley.
Bit of language coming out of that contest.
And blood. And blood.
Language and blood.
Yes. Not necessarily in that order, but...
Nick Subban cut beneath his left eye. And above his left eye.
And Mitch Andrews coming off the ground as well. I don't think he's bleeding at all, but coming off for a spell.
So 20 points the margin. 13-13 plays 11-5. East Fremantle with the last goal. Claremont kicked the 2 before that.
And Corbin East Fremantle have gone down in the Colts and the reserves. They lost the Colts match to South Fremantle by 58 points. The reserves to Claremont by 44.
So back-to-back in the Colts for South and a treble in the reserves for the Claremont Football Club. 20 points the margin here. Time on in the third term. Here's Murphy. He's tackled by Hadley. Eventually comes out. Blackwell now with it. Held in. Tackler Stephen.
That's fine. It's making an attempt.
And we'll have another bounce in a similar area of the ground as we tick towards three-quarter time.
A lot of players around this stoppage. Over the top. McGovern did well. Delzil left it behind. Cooper dispossessed. Rory O'Brien's hand pass didn't find Delzil on the full, but he finds the footy before the boundary line. High, spiralling, tumbling kick, and I think the players were just, and the umpire does confirm it's gone over the line and out of bounds on the full.
here.
Is that a field umpire standing there on the boundary line?
I think it's a boundary umpire, but he didn't call anything
call
at all.
anything. It landed on his head.
He must have been unsighted. Meanwhile,
Unsighted.
find Holt to Laurie. Searching kick from Laurie is a good one. Right across the centre square almost to Swift. Chips it up in front of Thompson, who's run off half back. Dragged Leith Teakle with him, and Thompson has the footy in the shadows of the grandstand, looking into the pocket. Big pack there, but Griffin asserts himself. John Griffin, well, he's going to run out the distance. You'd have to say that with the training that he has under his belt. That wasn't a great kick, just to stand and deliver. Young couldn't complete the mark. Laurie ends up with the footy. Don't know if he wanted it in the end. He's dispossessed. Murphy from ground level gets a hand pass out. Blackwell likewise. Foster did well to Swift. Coming across Swift there was Stephen. Andrew Stephen blankets at Foster. One more go. But he's bumped over the line and out of bounds with the footy.
It was well done by Schofield. He had to go. He took the chance and actually went it and actually impacted the thing.
Played in the Colts Premiership under Malaxis in 2010. Jaden Schofield spent 2011 at the Western Bulldogs for 7 games. Had a good year back in senior footy with East Fremantle. Shammer went the soccer. Ricocheted back towards McGough, and the Sharks are off and running. 3 bounces. Kicks down to centre half forward. Young the target. Thompson right there with him. Gets the spoil in. Young crawling to try and get to the footy. Jess Laurie slides in. Heavy collision with Kobe Stevens. Laurie still going for the Tigers. Comes out towards Mitchell, picked up by Sutcliffe, touched off the boot. The out-demeted is Holt, does well to spin around, grab the footy, gave it to Lewis Stevenson, kicks out towards the outer wing, bouncing footy, Howlett and Richardson, the 2 at it. A slight fumble from Howlett, innocuous soccer towards the boundary line. We'll have a throw in between wing and half forward for the Sharks.
Don't mind it, was good play again, attack the footy, keep it in front of you, get it over the boundary, set up again.
20 points the margin. Griffin goes the punch, down to Dalziel, away to Rory O'Brien, kicks inside 50 for the Sharks, backing back Laurie, couldn't take the mark, Hanley gives it back to Jess Laurie, then lays a big shepherd on Brock O'Brien, and that's collected him on the chin. We'll have another look at that. He'll go straight into the book, Trinity Hanley.
Got the free kick, Dalziel, get out of there.
Not quite sure he got him as well as we perhaps should have thought, but he certainly, his intent was the player, not anything else.
Brock O'Brien, who hasn't had a big impact in front of the sticks today. Kicked 2-7 last week. He's got 41 for the season. Batting at the 500. What an important goal this would be as we tick past the half-hour mark in his 3rd term to close it back to 14 points. Starts it out to the right, bends it back beautifully. Old East within 14 points. Right on the stroke of 3/4 time. 12-5, 77 East Fremantle. They trail Claremont 13-13, 91. It's back to 14 points.
It'd be nice for him just to get another one before 3/4 time. Go at an 8-point game at 3/4 time. We're probably going to have a fair contest in the last quarter.
That's the old East Fremantle coaching you, getting a bit greedy, Ken. I reckon Steve Malaxis would take this right now.
Yeah, I think he would, but I think, gee, if they could pinch another one, it should be a great contest in the last quarter. We get an 8-point game going at 3/4 time.
Sitting in the other box, they'd be nervous. Mark Webb and his men.
The odds are against it. 31 minutes by the time the ball is bounced. Griffin wins the tap, but it's going to be a Claremont clearance because Murphy reads it best. Gets it onto his boot. Very important inside attacking 50 here for the Tigers. Siren is close, but Andrew Stephen tidies up first the Sharks. Kicks the ball out wide, sets a bit of a task for Henson, but he's in good form. Across his body, brilliantly delivered to Rory O'Brien. Well, he could have gone off, but there was really no one to go to. He's got a short option there on Menengola, who now turns his back on him. Now the umpire says you've got to get on with it anyway. The kick lapped a little bit of penetration, but it's Menengola with it, turned around once to Griffin. Now the long kick. Can they take a mark here? Brennan sets himself. Brennan marks. 20 metres out directly in front. Sharks supporters delirious. Well, what a grandstand finish this is going to be to the 3rd quarter. And we've still got the last quarter of the 2012 Grand Final ahead of us. Jacob Brennan, it was a bit of a floater, kept his eyes on the footy, fully focused. Now he just needs to finish it off with a 6-pointer. Sends it on its way, hooked it badly. Wow, what an anticlimax.
That needed to be jailed. No comment from the experts.
Well, no, it's just a bad miss. I mean, an AFL listed player, you've got to convert those.
Stevenson kicks to himself, goes out towards halfback. Jones lurking at the back of the pack, knocked away from him. Couple of Tigers competing. Blackwell lost his feet. Bayless tackled right on the logo by the ruckman and Andrews. The umpire calls for a bounce.
Jonathan Griffin.
Just talking about Bayless. He has been better as long as the game's gone, Bayless. He's actually been really well composed. He did well then.
Kicked the last 2 goals of the second term. They've got the last 2 goals of this third quarter. East Fremantle looking to make it the last 3 as McGough gets the takeaway. Hand pass forward. The footy comes back to him. Hands it out towards Bayless. Doesn't get a kind bounce of the footy. Retreats by hand to Andrew Stephen. Shakes the would-be tackle. Kicks inside 50 for East Fremantle. Dick's down there. Young gets to the front. Takes the mark. The mark's paid.
No.
He marked that before.
Sorry.
It's paid. So Rob Young, who was... I guess the story right on the siren of half-time when he charged through James Thompson, the man on the mark. And Thompson will just have to stand and watch this kick sail over his head.
All he's done, a great kick, but like we say, all good forwards, or all forwards who want to be good players, play in front, because you never know when they can drop short. And drop short for him, he's got a chance to kick a goal.
And this will put it back
7 points
to a single-figure margin.
She's on, Brad.
You asked for it. I thought you were being greedy.
As coaching, as you know, coaches can be demanding, mate.
Rob Young to put it back to 7 points. On his way in, stabs at the kick, makes no mistake, and they get around him as well, the Sharks. Look at the celebrations from East Fremantle. They're back within 7 points after being completely blown away in the first term. Claremont led by 47 points at quarter time. They kicked 8 goals to 1. They pegged the margin back to 30 points at half-time, and Old East are within 7, looking to snap the longest premiership drought in the club's history. Gee, it's game on in the 2012 WAFL Grand Final. The 128th premiership is well and truly up for grabs.
Well, the East Fremantle spirit, the real East Fremantle spirit, has really come to the fore in that third quarter. What a terrific effort by the Sharks. They've closed the gap from 30 to 7, and we have got game on now. 1 quarter to go in the 2012 season, and there are going to be some nervous moments in the Claremont huddle here, Bradley, at 3/4 time.
There will be, but they'll just need to take a deep breath, go back and say, look, unfortunately we've been in this position before, as recent as the second semi where Swans came at them. They managed to withhold that. But my word, East Fremantle are coming on the back of Jonathan Griffin, who was just outstanding, Ken, in that third quarter. All day he has been.
He's been fantastic. He's been fantastic. And look, I just think from a spectacle point of view, I'm rapt that we've got a contest on our hands now because, gee, at quarter time it looked a pretty average set of proceedings. I mean, it was 14 scoring shots to 2 in the first quarter. It looked like game over. East Fremantle have shown great character. Since then, East Fremantle have kicked 12 goals to 5 since quarter time. So it's breathed some life into the contest. But those goals on 3/4 time like that or after the siren, they're team built lifters, aren't they, really? I mean, you saw the spirit and the energy the players showed then. That's given them a real fill-up going into this last quarter. I still favour Claremont, I've got to say, but because there's a long way to come back from. But they're not out of it, East Fremantle.
Well, they've got the momentum at the moment, Judgy. They've got real momentum going with them. Yeah, they're still 7 points behind. Yes, they've played the extra week. Claremont have had the 2 weeks an extra day off. So if anyone's going to hit the wall, it should be the Sharks. But I just, you look at some of the players there who have got that AFL training regime along, and Griffin is one of them. Kobe Stevens played his best quarter then as well. Some of these players, they're starting to play their best footy right now.
Yeah, well, they are, and they've just got, and I think Dalzell's been very good.
Yes,
since quarter time.
Quarter.
Yeah, I think since he's really given them some run, and he's actually been good. So, and I just reckon Rob Young, although it was crude what he did at half time, he unsettled them. Yeah. He unsettled them because they were trying to square up with him a bit in that quarter. So, look, it's game on.
Let's have a look at the goal scorers with a quarter to go. And it's an intriguing list. Medhurst has kicked 5 goals to three-quarter time. Richardson and Mitchell 2 apiece for the Tigers. And for the Sharks, Griffin has kicked 3 and Brock O'Brien 2 goals. Looking at the chief possession getters, Blackwell with 22 3 marks, Medhurst 11 kicks, and from those 11 kicks, 5 goals. Richardson 9 kicks and 7 handballs. Tom Swift has had 16 possessions, Foster 15, 16 to Walton. Mitchell has gone a bit quiet. He's had 13. Shammer also a bit quiet, especially in that term. As we look at East Fremantle, Dalziel went the other way. He got really busy. He's had taken 8 marks. He kicked a goal. Griffin's been outstanding, as we said. Kobe Stevens, his best quarter in that third. Menengola and McGough both continue to be good. Rory O'Brien has had 14 possessions. Dodd absolutely rock solid in defence, and Schofield likewise. Both had 12 possessions. There really hasn't been much in the possessions all day. Still very, very even, and still in front with the inside 50s. The Tigers doing better, but it's the Sharks that have been doing the scoring. Centre breaks almost even.
So let's just look at
Let's listen to what Jared Schofield's got to say in the Claremont huddle.
That will probably counteract. They'll obviously take away from them trying to cheat. Because they've got a sniff and they've got a run on, that's when O'Brien and these cheats come into the game, because they roll the dice, don't they? Right, so we've just got to make sure, if you're that last line midfielder, whether it's a winger or whether you're an on-baller and you can't make an impact inside 50, cover up and cover the exit.
Some pretty direct and terse words down there from Jared Schofield, and listening on is our boundary rider, Todd Ridley.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. I saw this 2 weeks ago in the second semi-final when Claremont played Swan Districts. Claremont got out. They were 42-point leaders on that day, but Swans pegged them back. But in the last quarter, Claremont, with their superior fitness, were able to come over the top of Swans. Different kettle of fish in the grand final. East Fremantle really swung the momentum their way, and a couple of players that I think Mark Webb would be looking for to get onto the board would be Chad Jones and Tom Lee. They haven't taken a mark between them, and they've only kicked the 1 goal, and Chatty Jones is struggling to get his hands on the ball. Mitch Brown has done a very good job on him, but like Ken said, this is what we want. We want a very tight grand final, and hopefully Claremont will win, Ken.
Well, one man whose numbers are not down is Jonathan Griffin. He's come in to the team, taken the place of Russell Gabriel, but he has really made his mark on this game, guys. He kicked a goal in the first quarter, 2 in the second, and he's just been phenomenal with his input this afternoon.
He has indeed, and 39 hit-outs just led the way for them, and he will have, we spoke about his skills, but he's also got pretty good fitness. So as we see him take another big mark just on the fly there, that was a great goal from Brennan. Look for a big quarter for him.
So Jonathan Griffin, there he goes out into the middle, because he's got 1 quarter of football to go. I don't think he's going to be fazed by that. He's really in good nick at the moment as we go down to Rod Willett, who's got Steve Malaxis.
Steve, after getting smashed in the first quarter, you must be really pleased with the effort of the players to get back in the game.
Yeah, really pleased. First quarter was terrible. We're in with a chance. That's about it, yeah.
You talked about intensity, not panicking. Tell us what you said to the boys.
Basically that. We've got to play hard, tough footy, but it can't be erratic. We're still behind.
Do you have the belief?
Oh, yeah, I have. The boys have been terrific. We've won from here before.
Good, mate. Thanks.
7 points down after trailing by 47 at quarter time. The final term underway for season 2012. Andrews reaching high, 1 to tap. Swift runs straight into Griff and then runs into the second tackle. That'll be gone. Holding the ball. Richard Hadley with the free kick. Premiership player with the Brisbane Lions back in 2003. He'll come out wide with the kick. Dalziel taking the mark. East Fremantle will have the first forward entry of this final term. Kicks long, Young out on the lead. He's got it. We saw him pull apart the first semi-final against East Perth. He's kicked a goal right on the 3/4 time buzzer, and he can go back and kick the first of the final term here.
Well, that just fell beautifully for him. It just the weight of the kick, gave Thompson no chance. I don't care who you are playing fullback in that circumstance, you can't get a fist on that. That was just a really well-weighted kick to him.
The set-up kick from Hadley was a beauty as well.
Yep.
Good running from Dalziel, good running from Stevens. Some of those elite fitnesses, Lammy, that you spoke about, showing their signs in the fourth quarter.
I just want to go back to that third quarter. East Fremantle only had 8 inside 50s and kicked 6 goals, 1 in the third quarter. That's huge.
So Rob Young with the set shot. Kick on its way. They're within a point, East Fremantle. They've come from 47 points back to draw within a point. 14-6, they trail Claremont 13-13. East Fremantle have kicked the last 4 of the game. either side of three-quarter time.
What actually happens now from a Claremont point of view is you can get a bit nervous. You're starting to look at the scoreboard and think, hey, we're not going to lose this. We can't lose this from where we've been. So all of a sudden your attention goes from what you need to do to start looking at the result. And that's going to be the concern. They've got to switch on to what's happening here in this game, Claremont, because Fremantle are coming and coming very strongly.
Well, that goal inside a minute of the first quarter, Steve Malaxis would not have seen that. He would still be making his way up to the coach's box. He would be elated to find his team just 1 point in arrears with the momentum. So Griffin and Mitch Andrews. Griffin winning the tap. Claremont are doing pretty well sharking it, however. Great effort on that occasion by Subban to win the hard ball. Pumps it forward, gets past Nisbet, but not Cooper. He wobbles it out in front of Bayliss. He's got a couple to beat. Bayliss met solidly by Mitchell. Hand passes to the grass. Now there's a chance for Walton. Back to Mitchell. He was under a lot of pressure. Forced to release it quickly. Blackwell falls over. Gets it onto Nisbet. Nice hand pass, Nisbet. Mitchell ran into bother. Remained his composure and released a hand pass into the path of Swift. Met solidly by McGough. Running the wrong way, but he paddles it to the boundary line. Did well. He was under pressure there from Lee. But I'm sure the umpire is going to give him the benefit of the doubt. There was nothing more that Mark McGough could have done.
Great contest there, about 5 or 6 of them, wasn't it? Just tackle after tackle, just intensity at its highest.
The umpire letting a lot of this wrestling between Andrews and Griffin go because they're just both in it. Andrew wins the tap. Bayliss took it, immediately held the ball pinned to him. Walton appealing, the umpire not having anything of it. So it's about 40 metres out from Claremont's goal. And 3 minutes gone, a long way to go in this final quarter of 2012.
Griffin's been so big today for East Fremantle. Andrews on this occasion palms it down, follows up with a possession. Had his kick smothered though. Charging through his halt, and he's wrapped up.
I think Bayliss has done his shoulder as well when he smothered that ball. So you can't come off now, champ. The ball's in your in the back line. You're playing down there.
He's got his hand up to the interchange. He's going to stand on Walton though. At half forward, and Walton will go third man up as he just thumps it forward. Richardson out after it. The boundary line will beat him.
This gets down to one of Lee Matthews' famous sayings, inches and seconds it is now. It's just contest to contest. Little break goes for you here or there. You just can't afford to try and think there's an easy one. It's just going to be inches and seconds that'll win this game for one of these sides.
From the throw-in, free kick. East Fremantle's way, a hold against Andrews on the ruckman in Griffin. And on that point...
No, it's actually Stephen.
On that point, Ken, is it better to have 15 blokes that have been there before or 15 blokes or 18 blokes, 22 in East Fremantle that haven't been there, albeit a couple at the highest level?
Well, I was going to say, I think East Fremantle's got a good mix of blokes who've actually played footy at the highest level, even though they mightn't have played in the premiership at WAFL level. So I don't think that's too bad. I think it's pretty even in that respect.
So Hadley at half-back, big climb from Weird and a push. Free kick going Claremont's way.
Long way again.
It'll be Trinity Hanley to take the free kick on the outer wing. And he'll just load up and pump Claremont long inside their forward 50. Lee the target, big leap, couldn't take the mark. Spills down in front towards Blackwell. He goes back by hand to Nisbet. Kicks inside the forward pocket. Richardson down there. Crawford flew at the back of the pack. Brock O'Brien gathers the footy on the last line of defence. He concedes a rush behind. Tigers by 2.
Good play. Set up.
Haven't seen Brock O'Brien do the kick in much for East Fremantle, but he finds Mitch Brown. Very short again to Dodd. They trail by 2 points. A long way to go in the final quarter. Dodd short once more. Andrew Stephen just content to control the footy for the moment. East Fremantle, they know the momentum's with them, waiting to be able to get some spread and run and set up a scoring opportunity at the other end of the ground. Howlett now still on the right half-back flank. Now he's going to go for distance. They've got Griffin in this pack. He flies but can't take the mark. The ball ends up with Handley. Punts the ball from wing to centre half forward. Lee went up with one hand at ground level. Jones kicks the ball into open space up near full forward. First man there should be Cooper. Looking for the bounce. Controls it pretty well. Onto the left boot. Directs it well too to Dalziel. Got through his hands. Mitchell was there applying the pressure. And Dalziel just couldn't control the footy.
They were lucky.
They were really lucky. They were out.
O'Brien was out a long way on the other side.
That was the panic kick from Jones inside the forward 50. As soon as he grabbed it, turned around, kicked long. There was no one back for Claremont or forward for Claremont.
Boys, James Bayless getting his elbow looked at the moment. He should be okay and back on shortly.
Claremont going inside 50. Mitchell, Cooper underneath it, takes the mark.
He's done some nice things, Cooper.
I've liked Cooper in recent weeks. He hasn't played much in the senior team, but I've really liked what he's done.
He's turned it over here. Foster kicks long towards the hot spot. Waiting at the back was Medhurst. Jones, he paid the mark. So Chad Jones will go back and have a set shot to push it out beyond a goal. Almost directly in front, 20 metres out.
Oh, please.
You usually see those paid, Judgy.
Do you?
Well, I think Brown knocked it away from him after he tried to...
Well, you're allowed to do that.
Hang it to his chest. So Jones, 20 metres out, makes no mistake. Tigers back out by 8. 14-14, 98. East Fremantle 14-6, 90. Stops the run of 4 successive East Freo goals. 7.5 minutes into the final term.
Well, that's what they needed, Claremont, but I'm not sure that was a mark, to be honest.
Get it into a dangerous area. They haven't had the greatest of days, Chad Jones or Tom Lee, but they're not getting any smaller at the 7-minute mark of the last quarter. And they're up against quality defenders in Dodd and Brown. Just need to get it into a really dangerous area to put the defence under pressure.
Jonathan Griffin being afforded a bit of a rest, so Robbie Young goes in to oppose Jeremy McGovern. So the 2 second string ruckman do battle. Ball comes down to Blackwell. Again, he just seems to find so much time. He had Mitchell there if he needed him. He didn't. He goes direct for goal. Straight down toward Dodd, who couldn't take the mark for East Fremantle. Mitch Brown flips the ball up for Dodd. He controls it in the back pocket. Sends it now from the right full back pocket out towards left full back. Terrible danger. Not well executed. Meant for Howlett. Intercepting was Andrew Foster. And that is going to take a fair bit of wind out of their sails.
Well, that'll take a lot of wind out of their sails. That's a second one today from Dodd.
Yep.
It's cost him a goal.
Down the same end.
Well, yeah, same
Trying
end.
to do the same
thing. Yeah. Why wouldn't he have come this way?
Had all his momentum.
Coming this way, and he's turned and gone back against the flow of play and turned it over.
So Foster in close enough to almost make it a gimme. He makes no mistake. Andrew Foster wouldn't from there. So that one is going to really hurt East Fremantle. An unforced error that puts the margin out to 14 points.
Well, I've got to say, it's game for mine. And I don't mean to put that on Doddy's shoulders, but that's exactly the way I see it.
They've thrown everything at them, haven't they?
They have, and you just can't. When you give an easy one up like that, that is really morale destroying. That
on top of the Jones one just gives them 15 points or 14 points or so. Need to kick 3 goals to get in front. Only the 9-minute mark. They need to get the next one.
Have to.
Such a sharpshooter, Foster. He kicked 27-7 last year, 44-7 the year before. And he's kicked a goal when it counts here. Claremont going forward once more. Out towards the half-forward line. Nisbet to meet it. Hand pass away towards Mitchell. Mitchell puts Claremont inside 50 again. Jones, the target, knocked away from him by Brown. Dodd, a slight fumble. Hand pass out of bounds.
As you can see, boys, plenty of players getting some assistance from the training group here, getting rubs, and so is East Fremantle. So the pressure of this game, the players are really feeling it.
From the throw-in, Young and McGovern. Young palms it straight down to Foster, comes out the back. McGovern went over as well, gathers the footy off the deck, feeds a hand pass away to Louis Stevenson. They release the run of Mitchell, just pops it up towards the forward pocket. Jones coming for the bag, couldn't take the mark. Loses it in the shuffle and the ball rolls out of bounds. We'll have a throw in the forward pocket.
Jim Medhurst had to sit there and let Chad Jones know all about it. That was going to drop in his lap.
So just 5 metres around from Clemont's right hand behind post. Throw in, Young wins it. But Blackwell sharks it, gets it off to Foster. Foster's kick blanketed by Howlett, ricochets over the line, out of bounds. Look at that tape all the way out from Andrew Foster's shoulder right down to below his elbow. Steve Malaxos issuing orders to the bench. And they look pretty stern as well. He knows the game's on the line. He knows they need the next goal. At the moment, it's at the wrong end of the ground. Griffin did brilliantly. Got it down to Sutcliffe. High. Bayless was worked underneath the footy. No free kick. Play on is the call. Teakle's hand pass. Favours Whedon. Whedon a spin. That's holding the ball. Took them on. And there's too much desperation at stake for East Fremantle to take them on in situations like that. So Menangola with the ball. They need to find a way forward. From southern wing, good looking kick from Menangola. Young was there, couldn't take the mark. Hand pass from Shammer, found Whedon from one step. Tired kick, Howlett underneath it, stands firm and takes the mark. He might be a little bit suspect below his knees, but very reliable
in the
when
air.
He gets his hands on it. Above his shoulders. Now Dalziel takes the mark, plays on quickly, trying to catch Claremont out, and they do again because the quick transference from Dalziel to Young. Strong hands from Robbie Young, judged it to a nicety again.
Well, he's had an impact in the second half, Robert Young.
Hasn't he? What?
Look, he's a bit ungainly at times, Youngie, but gee, he has a go. You can't knock that side of his game.
Well, super impressive. Sorry, super impressive against East Perth in the first semi-final.
He's a 113-game veteran with East Fremantle, and he wouldn't have played too many bad ones. He always gives 100%. He's going back. He can kick. His third goal here. And they have been very telling goals, each of them. 35 metres out. He likes it off the boot. 3 goals to Robert Young. So the Sharks are back again to within 8 points. Claremont 15-14, East Fremantle 15-6, and tons of time to go. Just 13 minutes have gone in the final quarter.
Well, yeah, look, a good effort by Young there, but again, Dalziel got the ball again, got it inside 50 for them. So
played on quick.
Yep,
that's the key.
Well, that's the other thing. They need to move the ball quickly. At this stage, where you're going to try and push blokes back into your forward line, you've got to move it on quickly so it doesn't allow them time to get back. Get your blokes one-on-one in your forward line, then you're a chance, especially with that circumstance there where Young outmarked Thompson.
He's got him at the moment, hasn't he? Young v Thompson.
Yeah.
They've got a genuine winner there at the moment.
Restart back in the middle. Andrews won the tap. Shammer went the soccer. Mark paid by Howlett. He'll come out wide with a kick. They're right on this northern wing. Sutcliffe can't take the mark though. Goes back and gathers the footy. Kicks along the paint, floating across the front. Kobe Stevens plays on straight away. Kick inside the forward 50. Out to meet it.
Stevens is hurt.
Kobe Stevens copped the bump from Shammer. So the numbers are on down this northern side of the ground. Shammer takes the mark in front of Rob Young.
He's a bit bull at the gate, Kobe Stevens. He does injure himself a bit the way he runs in and crashes in all the time.
Kicks down the broadcast wing. Big fly from the back from Andrews. Probably had his colours lowered today by Griffin, but a big mark for the Tigers in this stage of the game. Got a runner on his inside. He'll go to Shammer. Holds off Menangola. Shammer's kick untidy. Richardson waited behind. Now has a chance to run at it. Swift in the other direction. Coughs up the footy. McGough. Hand pass out towards Henson. Keeps it in. Hand pass to Menangola. Takes the underground route down towards the half-forward line. Off the hands of Young. It's out of bounds. Just 8 points the margin.
Great mark by the big fella Claremont, Andrews there, but didn't need to go to Shammer outside, left foot. Just silly little things
and running
like
out of space.
Right half forward for East Fremantle. Griffin worked it down to the front of the pack. Teakle gets a hurried kick away from the stoppage. Good fly down there by Weller. Clash of bodies with Jess Laurie and Weller. In his last game for East Fremantle, received it from his old mate Leith Teakle, also in his last game for the Sharks.
Well, the other thing about blokes like Weller and Teakle, don't leave anything in the barrel, boys. This is your last go. Just crash in as much as you can. He just crashed in then, Weller.
Well, he knew the contact was coming. He relished it. He just clunked his hands around the footy. He goes back and kicks from 50. He's pushed this one slightly across, and Whedon goes up, defends by fisting it through for a rush behind. 7 points, Corbin. The margin, 15.5 minutes gone.
And Stevenson will go to himself. Head out wide with the kick. Numbers with East Fremantle. Up in front, Menangola couldn't mark, and here goes Nick Subin. Takes a bounce, can have a second. Kicks inside the forward 50 for Claremont. Jones the target, cops an unkind bounce. Brown picks up the footy, goes to Howlett. He's got Schofield with him as well. And East Fremantle will try and counter-attack around this northern side of Subiaco Oval. Loops a hand pass over the top to Menangola. Has a bounce. Dodd lays the shepherd. Lee closes him down. Menangola's kick beyond the wing. Weirden in front. No mark paid. Spills down to Hadley. Gave it to Andrew Stephen. Shuffles a kick out to half forward. And Crawford takes the saving mark across half back.
A couple of timely marks from David Crawford.
So Crawford, grand final number 6 for him today. To Laurie. Andrews up in front. Spills down to Blackwell. Slight fumble. Gave it off to Nisbet. Just chucks it on the boot down towards Jones. Waiting there is Schofield front and centre. Brown got the punch. The ball missed Schofield and went out of bounds. 7 points the margin. The 2012 WAFL Grand Final. Claremont holding on against East Fremantle.
When you consider it was 47 points at quarter time, Corbin, quite a remarkable performance by East Fremantle to make this a truly memorable grand final. Nisbet got the crumbs, hand passed the ball along the ground. Richardson there. Stephen was over the top of him. The umpire has a good look at it and calls him for it.
He's nearly been best on ground, Justin Orr.
Andrew Stephen just about to do him.
He's just found his
looking
back.
for Griffin, and Griffin accepts the mark. He's just behind right centre wing, close to the boundary line. Kicks. That was a risky kick, rather nondescript. I'm not too sure who the target was. McGough and Dalziel were both there, but hardly in a position to take the pass.
I reckon they've put Shammer onto Dalziel to try and curb him. I know he's going back. Yeah, no, he's picking up Dalziel, I think.
The two number 1 ruckmen back at it again. Andrews and also Griffin. Foster tries to trap it. McGough is down there as well. The umpire has a good look at this. They're all in that one. The whistle goes.
It's out the back. You're in possession. Calm down.
Tired players. It's been a warm day. 18 minutes gone. It is really just going to be a matter of gutsing it out for the final 12 minutes or so. Andrews from his knees. The hand pass didn't go anywhere. Dalziel's did, but it was intercepted, I beg his pardon, or taken by Griffin, who kicks it up toward full forward. Big pack. Offhand. Rory O'Brien. Can he kick a goal? Sends it on its way. It looks good. It's Connacht's been touched. Wow. Just through the binoculars, I thought he had got the journey, but the goal umpire perfectly positioned. The margin 6 points.
It's a handy point, Judgy.
Well, makes it interesting, doesn't it?
So Holt in the back pocket. And Jess Laurie takes the mark. The whole East Fremantle team in their first WAFL Grand Final today. Well, for Claremont, losing on this day has been endemic over the last decade. A long kick out towards Thompson, couldn't take the mark. Chance for Andrews here, goes back by hand to Mitchell. The Sandover medalist kicks downfield. Jones coming from the back. Going to punch in the end, the ball out of bounds. Mitch Brown.
It's a great spoil. It's a great spoil from Mitch Brown. 3 deep.
And a boundary throw in now, right on halfway. 19 and a half minutes into the final term. From the throw in. Andrews palms it down. Here's Blackwell. Gave it off towards Subin. In traffic. Gets the kick down towards half forward for Claremont. Medhurst, his opponent, fell over in Schofield. Vacant goal square. Has a bounce. Feeds Mitchell out wide. Closes to 45 metres out. Mitchell's kick is online. The Sandover medalist goals to push it out to 12 points. A third for Kane Mitchell. The Sharks have just kept coming at Claremont all day. And that'll give him a little bit of breathing space for the next couple of moments or so. Claremont by 12, 16-14. They lead East Fremantle 15-8.
The question I'd ask is who's playing on him? Because he's come from a mile back here. Someone hasn't chased him out of the midfield, Mitchell, to allow him to get the overlap, which has cost him a goal.
And
great
what a
fitness.
Goal.
Oh, terrific fitness, but someone had to be accountable for it. At this stage of the game, you can't play 50 or 60 metres off your man, and there was no one within 50 or 60 metres of him when he got that ball.
Medhurst and Mitchell, the two men combining for that goal, having their rubs on the boundary line. Griffin won it, but it was taken by Shammer. Hand pass, Nisbet, then to Subban. A high kick, but it gets plenty of distance as well. Inside attacking 50. Brennan was there, tried to reel the ball in. Emerging, though, is McGovern. Hand pass to Richardson. Richardson's control was sublime, but the kick didn't execute it at all well. It's gone across the boundary line. Must have been touched.
No, it's just short, Lammy, I reckon.
Well, Mitch Brown
maybe
agrees
even on
with
the
me.
line. Maybe it was on the line.
Seemed to me through the binoculars that it went across, but could have easily touched part of it. So Claremont now with a 2-goal break and deep into attack. They're going to be hard to beat from here. Andrews down to Blackwell. Hurried kick. Goes across the face of goal. He's been good in close though, Blackwell today. Dodd's hand pass finds Menegola. Needs to find the target. Gets to Weller. Weller shrugs off Crawford and away goes Luke Weller, the man they call the Duck. 2 bounces. Short pass needed really to hit Brock O'Brien on the full. Whedon now gets past O'Brien. Delivers up towards the wing. Nisbet's there. So too Brennan didn't bend his back. Shammer steadies. Finds a target in Walton. Right on the 50. He's got McGovern short if he wants him. Tries to get the ball to McGovern now over the top of Cooper's head. And between Andrew and Stephen arriving late, McGovern wants to share it off, does so, and gives it to Richardson, who tries to stage for 50. Well, this will be it. At the 22-minute mark of this final quarter, East Fremantle have thrown everything at Claremont, but the Tigers have been able to steady under enormous pressure of the East Fremantle onslaught. Richardson from 25 metres puts it through to the roar and the delight of the Tigers supporters. He's kicked his third. He's done his bit.
Andrew Foster being carried off as well, which doesn't look too good for him. I'll let you know it's his left knee, which is already heavily strapped.
Well, they may not even begin, Todd. McGovern very unselfish, but set it up and just a bit of a breakdown in communication. East Fremantle players not quite getting to their men.
Well, Brennan missed Jacob Brennan missed that ball on the other side of the ground there. He had to do something to nullify it, or at least control it, and it went past him and opened up the way for the Claremont players to create a loose man going down the ground.
The goal kicker Ian Richardson, he's got 3 today. 17-14 to 5-8. East Fremantle through McGough. Now Hansen. Forward to Dalziel, who's been so good for the Sharks. Kicks towards the top of the goal square. Young down there. Had the better of Thompson in the second half. Holt out to meet it. Couldn't collect. Quick hands away from Howlett. Chucked in the forward line. Dick's kick around the corner. Chopped off on the last line of defence by Laurie. He'll come out wide to Nisbet. Arriving late was Cooper. Nisbet could be mowed down, and he is. Holding the ball. So a good afternoon, Cooper. Just his 7th league game in a grand final today. Kicks in the forward pocket, looking to honour the lead of Weller. It's over his head and out of bounds.
Great endeavour at the 24-minute mark of the last quarter. I know it's all on the line, but he'd be absolutely out on his feet.
Foster's just cramping up, boys, so he'll be fine.
3 goals the margin for the boundary throw-in. This will be Young to do the ruck work. Palms it straight down to the lap of Dick. He's dispossessed in the tackle. And jumping on top of it, Blackwell. The ball held in, and the umpire calls for a bounce once more.
Well, Claremont have got just about all their players back behind. Well, they have got all of their players back behind centre. A lot of them inside their defensive 50. Just bottling it up. And with that, East Fremantle chances are going to dissipate. Andrews wins the tap. Laurie emerges and puts it onto his right boot. It's going to land pretty nicely here for Medhurst. Medhurst uses the handball to Murphy. Murphy great at finding his targets. He finds Mitchell on the full tilt. He gets to the front edge of the centre square. Wobbles one toward the goal square. It's not going to score. East Fremantle should get back there first. No, it goes over the boundary line. Claremont will take that any day of the week. 25 minutes and a bit more have gone. Kane Mitchell, the Sandover medalist, and he's going to back up with a premiership medal. Only moments away. That youngster may not remember this day, but it'll be remembered by a lot of Claremont players and supporters. They had everything thrown at them. They were really challenged. Here's Walton at the back of the pack. Splays it off the side of the boot. That time it went over the line and out of bounds on the full. Bit of cramp there for Rory Walton, but he certainly played his part this afternoon. A really, really hard worker. And the free kick is going to be taken by Mitch Brown.
Rory Walton, what a story. 4 losing grand finals, went travelling last year. Back here and perhaps on the verge of his first premiership. Big pack mark from Tommy Howlett. So Howlett at half-back, kicks down the wing. Young in front, knocked away and over the boundary line. The last time that Claremont beat East Fremantle in a grand final was back in 1964, Les Mummy's Claremont team. That day, the Simpson medal was won by a player of the losing side. Norm Rogers picked it up in 1964 from East Fremantle. And John Griffin's had a very big afternoon today. From the throw-in, Subin, hand pass away towards Blackwell, high up and under, and Lee takes the mark. Between the interchange gates, Tom Lee down towards half forward. That's out of bounds on the full.
Yeah.
There are two players wrestling. One, Mitch Brown. The other is Chad Jones. The ball just went straight over the pair of them as that kick came down towards Medhurst. You can see them right there. Finally making their way back to their feet. Schofield's kick. Down the wing. Big fist away. Down towards Blackwell. Brennan went the bump and knocked him in the right direction. Here's Stevenson. Kicks towards Richardson at centre half forward. He takes the mark. They stream forward.
Look at Mitchell.
He's already got 3, Kane Mitchell. The kick goes in his direction and he's got it again. What a week for Kane Mitchell.
Well, he just ran about 80 metres then to create.
Yep. Polled 58 votes on Monday night, the equal most in Sandover Medal history.
Rod Willett doing what he likes doing best, holding on to the Premiership trophy down at the ground level there. I can see Trevor. Is that Trevor Nisbet on the right? Certainly John Todd in waiting.
Wait on the Mitchell kick. Pressed right up against the boundary line. It's not on line. It still lands inside the field of play. Griffin went the hand past and went through for a minor score. So that'll make it 19 points at the 28-minute mark.
Let's go to Todd Ridley.
It's Rod, but boys, there's the Premiership Cup. It's been a fantastic game. They battled very hard, but only one team can have their name on it very shortly.
That is for sure. We're getting close to the siren now. Murphy created something by knocking the ball out to Subban, a hide up and under. Walton was there again. Andrew Stephen with his head out over the footy. Brennan's kick blanketed. Here's Medhurst. Could he make it number 6? It's gone through. Get out the liquid paper, Brad. 28 and a half minutes have gone in the final quarter, and Paul Medhurst has kicked goal number 6. 18-15-123. Mark Webb knows the job is done. 15-8-98. He heaves a sigh of relief. Great blanket there by Subban, and Medhurst, given the time and space that he doesn't need that much time and space, but he got it and finished it off with a superb 6th goal.
Hard to believe that there was talk for the number 6 not to be playing today, but he's a match winner and he's certainly gone a long way to help them today. And great scenes on the boundary. That's what they play for. Fantastic.
McGovern in the ruck back in the middle. Just thumps it going forward for Claremont. Here's Menangola. He's had a good final series for East Fremantle. Comes out wide with a kick to Leif Teakle. Last time we'll see him today. Slips the tackle from Weirden. Loops a hand pass out forward towards Dalziel. Dalziel turns it over by hand to Swift. Swift goes out towards Stephen and also Richardson. Stephen got a hand on it. Ian Richardson's afternoon, 3 goals for him. 6 to Medhurst and 3 to Kane Mitchell. Just ticking into the 30th minute of this final term. McGovern grabs it out the ruck, kicks beyond the wing. Lee went the punch back in the other direction off the hands of Stephen. Spills down towards Richardson. Sutcliffe just pumps it forward, and on the end of it is Tom Swift taking the mark for the Tigers. He'll head out wide to Kane Mitchell, who's all alone again on the southern wing. He's got Shammer just breaking for him. Shammer will take the mark. He'll play on, closes to 49 metres out and misses to the near side. Behind.
Bit of showtime from Byron Shammer. Had a couple on inside, but you can't blame him.
And for the first time in 73 years, the Claremont Football Club has gone back to back. Yellow and blue at Subiaco Oval. They've held off a hell of a comeback from East Fremantle to prevail 18-16, 124 over Old East, 15-8-98. One of the more memorable grand finals in recent years. The Tigers by 26 points. And Claremont claim their 12th premiership. And a full stop on their dominance as such over the past decade or so. in their 6th grand final today in the last 9 years. And they get a second premiership to show for it after breaking through against Subi 12 months ago. Claremont by 26.
And Mark Webb.
His first year at the helm after taking over from Simon McPhee. He's 1 from 1. The premiership coach, the John Todd medalist, the Claremont Football Club, premiers for 2012.
Let's go down to Rod Willett, who's got one of the stars of the day.
Yes, thanks very much, Phil. Well, Kane Mitchell, geez, I kept coming at you, but you came up with fantastic.
Yeah, mate, we backed ourselves in to run out the game well. Full credit to East Fremantle there, and they're a great side. And oh, mate, I'm so stoked, hey.
So how does it feel winning both? Obviously the Sandover the other night, now premiership medal, must be dreams come true sort of stuff.
Makes it all the more sweeter, mate. The Sandover is irrelevant. This is what my season was about, and I'm just so stoked. I got to go, mate.
Rod Willett. He can have that effect on some people, but a great effort by Kane Mitchell, celebrating there. I think Jay Burton giving him an embrace there, and the players getting out there, the whole squad getting out to the 22 that took the field this afternoon. Let's go down now to the winning captain.
Yeah, I've got Luke Blackwell here. Luke, 47 points up, quarter time. They nearly got you. Held on, well done.
Yeah, definitely. They come at us hard. We knew they were always going to come. We went out. We're out strong. You know, we pride ourselves on striking first, and we did that today. And that takes a lot out of them to get back.
And Mitch Andrews and Jerry McGovern were terrific today against John Griffin, weren't they?
They were awesome. You know, Griffin will still play well as a gun player, but those two were awesome for our win. So they were amazing.
Now, one more thing, mate. I'll let you celebrate Andrew Brown. Terrible story, but he's still here celebrating as a team man.
Yeah, mate. During the week, you know, you never heard one whinge from him. You know, all he said, as long as you boys win, I'll be happy. That's all he's got to do for me. So, you know, that shows how much of a team man he is.
Actually, one more. Sorry, Mark Webb.
Webby, champion. Yeah. First season premiership.
Go on, Luke.
Todd Ridley with Luke Blackwell in his 3rd grand final today. Let's head down to Rod Willett, who's got the man of the moment, the coach of the Claremont Footy Club.
Yeah, thanks, Corbin. What a big moment it is. Mark Webb, congratulations. Terrific win by your boys.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. It's just it's a great result. Very relieved, and the boys came out, and you know, we got a few ones early and gave us a good chance. I knew that obviously them playing last week in the heat and things, that we have a fair chance to run over them, which we did. So just wrapped.
Enormous credit must go to East Fremantle. They obviously, you didn't let them back in. They actually forced their way back in. And then it was credit to you guys that you steadied and held fast at the end of the game.
Yeah, it's good. The boys worked their arse off today, and there's no doubt East Fremantle are a good side. They got here, they've beaten 2 quality sides, and there's no way they were going to come out here and let us have it. So credit to them, but yeah, we played the way we wanted to, and we did well.
Now credit to you also, mate. First crack at it, and 1-1 straight up. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, very happy. A lot of credit goes to the boys because obviously they've got a good nucleus of guys there before, so it was great.
Now, we talked about earlier, a few people have missed out. I suppose I saw Brownie get onto the ground pretty quick there, but must be just fantastic for the whole group. Very tight group.
Brownie's been great during the whole thing, so yeah, a lot of guys. The 2 boys had a win as well, and it's probably 5 or 6 guys who'd be really disappointed but happy for us as well.
Congratulations, go and enjoy it.
Yes, well done. Mark Webb, they're the premiership coach, and that's never an easy task to take over the role of a departing premiership coach, fill those shoes and try and reproduce it. But Mark Webb was able to do that, and he must be congratulated. Of course, Steve Malaxis, looking at his first premiership as a senior coach as well, would be very disappointed, but certainly when they trailed by 47 points at quarter time, it looked terribly grim, but they worked their way back into the match. There is the man I'm speaking of, Steve Malaxis. They got to within 7 points at 3/4 time, and they threw everything at the Tigers in the final quarter. In the end, it was just too much energy sapping for them, and Claremont kicked away right at the end because adrenaline can do funny things to you. It can take away all the aches and pains and the fatigue, and Claremont grew some legs in the final minutes, and they were able to kick away again, the final margin being 26 points. And you can see the elation amongst the Claremont group there, and they are certainly going to enjoy this presentation ceremony. We'll be going down to Clint Weldon shortly, but a fantastic effort by the Claremont Football Club taking out the Rodriguez Shield, and today they have taken out the Reserves Premiership and now the Senior Premiership. And I think that a picture just tells the total story, doesn't it? You see Steve Malaxis there, how differently things may have been, but one just gets the feeling that it has been the Tigers' year. Leith Teakle's played his last game for East Fremantle. We know that Luke Weller has as well.
Yeah, and look at a good career, Leith Teakle. Playing 165 or 166 games for the club, and Luke Weller, who came across from Queensland, 111 games, so 2 good servants to the club. Always disappointing when you finish on a losing note, particularly a grand final.
Yes, of course they would have liked a fairy tale finish, but let's have a look at the goal scorers. Paul Medhurst, what a star he was. One had the feeling that he was going to make a big impression on this game, and he did. 6 goals, a couple in the first, a couple in the second, 1 in the third and 1 in the fourth. Richardson with 3, also Mitchell, the Sandover medalist, outstanding with 3 goals, and Foster with 2, the major goal scorers for the Sharks. Robbie Young, 3 goals, terrific effort by him. Jonathan Griffin, he early goals, 1 in the first, 2 in the second, and Brock O'Brien chipped in with a couple of goals as well. For the Tigers, you can see they led all day by 47 points, by 30 points. It was ever diminishing. It got down to 7 points at 3/4 time before the Tigers kicked away. They kicked 5 goals to 2 in the final quarter to run out winners. 18 goals, 16, 124 to the Sharks, 15-8, 98. The margin, as I mentioned, was 26 points. Mitchell, the Sandover medalist, well, can he back up with the Simpson medal? He's got to be in contention. 24 possessions and 3 goals to Kane Mitchell. Luke Blackwell, a Sandover medalist himself, 27 possessions and a goal. Richardson, 6 marks, 3 goals. Medhurst from 12 kicks, 6 goals, 1. Shammer, 14 kicks, 7 handballs. I thought he was outstanding. Swift did well with 20 possessions. Foster, 18 possessions and 2 goals. And Rory Walton, well, he got better the longer the game went. He's a bit like the prodigal son, just comes back to the club and finds himself in a premiership lineup. Brad Dalziel never stopped trying, 26 possessions and 10 marks, great effort, capped it off with a goal. Young Sam Menangola, I thought also with his 17 possessions was very good. Jonathan Griffin, that doesn't show the hit-outs there, but he was manful in the way he went about his business with 15 possessions, 8 marks and 3 goals. Howlett, again a player who was under a lot of pressure in defence but stood up extremely well. Kobe Stevens tried hard. 17 possessions for him. Dodd in the last line of defence, 5 marks, 16 possessions. Rory O'Brien, 15, down on his usual number, and Mark McGough, 17, the skipper, kicking a goal as well. And you throw it all together there, probably in the last 5 or 10 minutes, those numbers blew out a little bit as far as the possessions went. But look at the inside 50s. Claremont pretty much dominating there, 60-39. In the hit-outs, Griffin did extremely well, but don't underestimate Mitch Andrews either. Tried very hard. Centre breaks 19-16 in favour of the Tigers. Those statistics there probably more would image a bit of a blowout, you know, and indicative of the way the game went early.
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, in the second half, although East Fremantle got back in the game, they only went inside 15 times in the second half to Claremont's 32.
Yeah, I think
so they made the most of their opportunities when they were inside 50. So, I mean, the weight of numbers was going the other way, but East Fremantle were able to convert on the scoreboard.
Well, they kicked 6 goals in that third quarter for only, I think, 8 or 9 entries?
8 entries, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Claremont had the weight of ball still in their forward half in the second half, but East Fremantle got the scoreboard pressure on by kicking the goals. So that was a bit of a concern. And they won in the last quarter out of the centre, 6-2, which was pretty significant. If you're in a game that's a line ball, centre breaks is so important, and to control 6-2 in the last quarter, Claremont probably was one of the reasons they won.
Mentioned Mitchell, Sandover medalist, a terrific game. I really like the game of Luke Blackwell. I mean, he got a lot of contested footy from stoppages. He's a real inside player, and the way he just buys himself some time and space when he's right in the confines of a situation there, he's able to use it so well.
And he won some important possessions in the last 15 minutes of the game. When East Fremantle got to that sort of 7 points behind after being back to 1, got out to 15 or 14, got back to about 7, you needed someone to stand up, and Blackwell stood up for Claremont and really won some important possessions of stoppages.
Mentioned Medhurst, Tom Lee, absolutely outstanding second half of the year, probably the premier goal scorer in the competition in the second half of the year. Really didn't have a Tom Lee day today, couldn't get his high-flying marks going.
Well, Dodd did a good job on him. Dodd made 2 mistakes, cost East Fremantle 2 goals, unfortunately, where he kicked the cross goal. One of them in the last quarter and one in the second quarter. But he did a great job on him, Dodd, to hold Lee. And of course, Brown held Jones as well. well, so then they had to rely on their mid-sized players to get their goals, and they got them.
I was going to say,
kicking 6 and Richardson getting 3.
It's the quality of the side, isn't it, when Lee and Jones, their key forwards, don't get amongst the goals and really don't get their hands on the footy that much because they're being so well held into Medhurst, Richardson, Mitchell running down the ground.
I mean, at the end of the day, Medhurst's 6 goals in this game was significant, in my opinion.
Yep, maybe not match winning, but he's going to go pretty close. Going to go pretty close. I know that Brad Wirral was voting for the Simpson Medal, and he was reaching for the liquid paper a couple of times there because Medhurst and Griffin were probably outstanding along with Mitchell and Blackwell.
Yep, and I think Dalziel was probably a good player for East Fremantle.
All right, well, let's go downstairs to ABC's Clint Wheeldon, who's hosting the presentations of the 2012 Premiership Cup.
A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the presentation of the 2012 AAMI WAFL Premiership Cup. The WAFL would sincerely like to thank national insurer AAMI for their support this year. As the official naming rights partner of the 2012 WAFL season, AAMI has helped make this a great year for WA football. Thank you everyone today for attending what has been a terrific way to wrap up a successful year for the WAFL. The hallmark of the 2012 season has been close and exciting competition between all teams. We certainly got that again today. And please show your appreciation of both Claremont and East Fremantle for earning their positions in today's game. Another part of a great season and something that games would not be possible without is, of course, the umpires. Football's theme of umpiring is everyone's business. Ask we all respect the role of umpires and acknowledge the role they play. And I would ask the umpires ball champion for 2012, Peter Frusher, to come forward to make presentations to today's WAFL Grand Final umpires. The umpires from today's game will come forward to receive a Grand Final medallion in recognition of officiating today. In the field for today's League Grand Final were Todd Keating, Justin Orr and Scott McPhee, and emergency Stuart Parry. Running the boundary we had Brad Hunt, Nathan Doig, Michael Washbourne and Ryan Kukura, and in goal was Michael Spear and Luke Edwards with the scorer Jono Laycock. The umpires do a terrific job and we respect their commitment and dedication, and of course we also thank Peter for his great contribution to the game via umpiring. Ladies and gentlemen, we have witnessed the culmination of the 2012 season today. And while we have a winning team, we also have a losing team, and one that played some fantastic football throughout the year. Join with me in welcoming the captain of East Fremantle to the stage and give him a round of applause, please. Well done to Mark McGough. Mark, if you'd like to come forward and say a few things for your fans.
I'd just like to obviously congratulate Claremont on winning both grades of football. You guys deserve it and enjoy tonight. I just want to thank our supporters, sponsors and volunteers, because without you we wouldn't have a club. And just to my team, I'm just proud of the way you performed and acquitted yourselves. You tried your best today, but we came up short, so congratulations and enjoy Claremont.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the enduring features of WA football has been the Simpson Medal. It has been presented since 1945 to some outstanding players in both grand finals and state games. And could I ask Mr. Paul Simpson to join me on stage to announce this year's winner?
Sorry about that, I just had to confirm who the winner was. Well, the winner of the medal this year receives the game ball, and that hasn't always been happening, so you can kick it around at home or with the other players. Now, the winner of the medal this year has a long and illustrious history in Australian rules football, and he's had a wonderful day today, Paul Medhurst.
So 6 goals for Paul Medhurst. 7 marks, 12 kicks, 2 hand passes and 6 goals won. Some question marks on his form heading into today, and he has just stood up on the big day. Produced 6 of the best, and he's the Simpson medalist. He was always the type of player that could do just that. An Anzac Day medalist in the past, and now on
Firstly,
grand final day.
I'd like to thank East Fremantle today. It was a really even contest. We got some momentum at the start, at the end of the games, and you guys played really good footy through the middle of it, so we were lucky to finish off on a high. Thank you to the crowd today for turning out. It was a great atmosphere, and I think it was a really good contest. And finally, thanks to Claremont, not just the boys, but everyone involved. It's been a special year, and it's amazing just to have this honour on a special day with such special people. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, someone else who has been involved with many WA champions and champion teams is John Todd, and I'd like to ask John to come forward to present the John Todd Medal to the 2012 Premiership coach. We thank John for making these presentations today, and I'd ask the winning coach to come forward, Mark Webb. A round of applause, everyone, to receive the 2012 John Todd Medal.
Congratulations, Mark. 4 premierships as a player, first year as a coach. It's pretty easy. I'd like to congratulate you and well done, and thoroughly deserve that. Good on you, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, John. Thanks a lot, all the supporters, for coming in. Well done to the boys today. They've made it an easy job for myself this year. Such a great club in Claremont, and all the supporters, and especially the sponsors of the club. Commiserations to each Frio. You put up a mighty fight today, and you're a good bunch of guys and well respected. So thanks a lot for your time. Just want to say thanks to Claremont for taking a punt on me this year, and hopefully I've repaid them. So make sure Claremont supporters get back to the club and enjoy the night. Thanks.
Thank you very much, John, and of course, well done to Mark. And I'd now invite the players of the Claremont Football Club to come forward individually and accept your premiership medallions from the members of your Little League team here today. And starting with number 1, Rory Walton.
And gee, no one deserves it more in this Claremont team. He's played in 4 losing grand finals, missed the game in 2011. He gets his premiership medallion today. Such a great servant of the Claremont Footy Club.
Number 4, Ian Richardson.
Trophy cabinet starting to get a little bit fuller for Richo as well. Fairest and best winner, twice a premiership player now, one of 15 to go back-to-back.
Number 5, Jake Murphy.
Jake Murphy, reserves premiership back in 2010. He's 2-0 in his 2 grand finals now.
Number 6, back on stage, Paul Medhurst.
As I mentioned earlier, 12 kicks, 2 hand passes, 6 goals and 7 marks. A Simpson medalist, state player this year on his return to Claremont. And he's been tremendous for the Tigers.
Number 7, Tom Lee.
A quieter day for Tommy Lee, just the 4 disposals and a goal, but been so clutch throughout the year. Kicked 58 goals in the 14 games leading into today, averaging over 4 per match.
Number 9, Kane Mitchell.
Well, it's been all about Kane this week. Equalled the record for the most votes in the Sandover Medal with 58, holding 14 of the games. 7 times he got top votes. He was tremendous today as well with 3 goals and 24 disposals.
Number 11, Andrew Foster.
Well, he had it 18 times today and kicked a couple of goals as well. It was a part of the 2010 team that lost, and now back-to-back medals for Andrew Foster.
Number 14, Aaron Holtz.
One of the 7 to play in his first league premiership today. He's won 2 reserves premierships in 2010 and 11. The son of John Holt, the former North Melbourne footballer.
Number 17, Trinity Handley.
Starting to even up his ledger, his 5th grand final, 2 winning ones now for Trinity Handley. His 99th win today. If he plays on next year, he'll become just the 10th player to play in 100 wins for Claremont.
Number 19, David Crawford.
In his 6th grand final today, and 2nd premiership for him after being part of all 4 losing ones. 3rd in the most wins in the Claremont Football Club for individual players.
Number 20, Chad Jones.
Kicked a goal late on in the piece after being goalless last year. 6 disposals, 3 and 3 for Chad Jones, twice Bernie Naylor medalist.
Number 24, Mitch Andrews.
And his colours lowered by the big tasker John Griffin. Did a couple of very important things late in the game. Coming over here, 2 premierships and 2 seasons with the Tigers.
Number 25, Jesse Laurie.
4 marks, 9 kicks, a couple of hand passes today for Jess Laurie. Played the last 11 league games after starting the year in the reserves. The premiership for the 2nd year running.
Number 28, Bradley Nisbet.
Another who has played in the last couple of reserves flags, the son of Trevor Nisbet, the West Coast Eagles Chief Executive Officer. Premiership player today for the Tigers for the first time.
Number 31, James Thompson.
Had the big task on Rob Young, who was pretty effective when the game was really taken up to Claremont. Held firm and claims his first premiership today.
Number 32, Byron Shammer.
Kicked the first goal of the afternoon, his 4th WAFL Grand Final. 129 games with the Fremantle Dockers. Had 14 kicks, 7 hand passes and kicked a goal.
Number 34, Lewis Stevenson.
16 disposals for Louis today, 13 and 3. 10 games with the West Coast Eagles, the last of those with 2010. He's been handy for Claremont during that time.
Have you up here, mate. Number 35, Tom Swift.
Tommy Swift, 6 games for the Eagles this year. Claremont have appreciated the time that he spent back with them. 13 kicks and 7 hand passes today. 20 disposals, he took 7 marks.
Number 42, Jeremy McGovern.
Pinched hit in the ruck throughout the afternoon. He's had a great season. His first league premiership today. He's played in 3 grand finals with the Tigers for 2 flags. And he's got a premiership medal in his own right today.
Number 43, Nick Subin.
Handy one to come back into this team. For the 2nd time in 3 years, Claremont went in without their premiership, without their captain in Andrew Brown. And he was so influential, particularly in the first term. 12 kicks and 2 hand passes.
Number 44, Jerick Whedon.
He's played in a premiership in each of his last 4 seasons, Jerick Whedon. In 09 he played in the Colts, in 2010 the reserves, and now back-to-back league premierships. 6 kicks for him today and 3 marks.
And ladies and gentlemen, number 3, the captain, Luke Blackwell.
Another busy afternoon for Luke Blackwell. 14 kicks, 13 hand passes, and kicked a goal as well. He's won the best and fairest the last 3 years running. The Sandover medalist last year, and has led them well today, Claremont, in the absence of Andrew Brown.
Captain for the day, I'm sure you've got a few things to say.
Yeah, first of all, thanks very much to East Freo. Fantastic footy club. 3 teams in grand finals and a very strong and great culture, and thanks for today. Second of all, to our sponsors. All our sponsors, can't name them all, but Coles, Target and Kmart, thank you very much, and hopefully stick by us next year. To the boys, great year, great squad. We've had a great squad the last 3 years. Stick together, great bunch of blokes, and we're going to celebrate it the next couple of days. And thanks to the supporters for coming out. Great effort. Get back to the footy club tonight. And thanks to the Claremont Footy Club. And we represented them well. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask Claremont Club champion Wayne Harvey to come forward and present the Premiership Cup and the pennant
that just
to
about
the winning
concludes the
captain.
presentations there. Former full forward Boomer Harvey, a legend of the Claremont Footy Club and a member of their 1964 Premiership side, is presenting the captain and coach with the Premiership Cup. So a well-deserved Premiership by the Tigers. You'd have to say, Judgy, along the way, they had a couple of, I suppose, shock losses during the course of the year, but their class on field really was probably the benchmark for most of the rest of the competition for most of the season.
Yeah, they've been the best team, and invariably you think usually the best team is the Premiership, so they did that today. Look, they withstood an East Fremantle comeback that was full of spirit, but at the end of the day, just too big a start East Fremantle gave them, and their class and experience in the end held stead. They were able to hold stead and go away with the game in the end. So a good win by Claremont, well deserved. And they'll have a good night at Claremont Oval, I suggest, tonight after a reserves premiership as well.
Yes, the club has done extremely well, reserves premiership, and they have taken out the league premiership for the second successive year. So the Tigers really are the powerhouse team in the competition right at the moment. And given the player group they've got, and you're looking at quality, some real quality there. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of, perhaps Chad Jones, injuries and age is going to catch up with him, one or two others, but the way Medhurst performed out there today, you can see the enthusiasm on players like Byron Shanna, Nick Sudan, and the group collectively, Kane Mitchell taking centre stage right there. But they've got a group there that is going to go on at least for another year or two, and again,
a few more. As you said, maybe 2 or 3 players at the top end, but those 2 or 3 players I think can be covered because there's some reasonable players going around in the reserves that won a premiership.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you would imagine that Claremont are going to be up the top for a number of years yet.
Yeah, Mark Webb made the point that it was very difficult for them with such a strong player group. You had the likes of Jared Morton playing in the reserves. There are some young stars who are going to come up into that side, out of that side. Jack Bradshaw's a terrific young player, and they go very deep at Claremont because they also got up into a preliminary final in the Colts as well. So a very, very strong club. But you see Byron Shammer there, and the players getting out to their girlfriends and their families, enjoying the spoils of what's been a very hard-earned victory. Ian Richardson there, and they're just about to get into their lap of honour. Waving the flag. So there we leave the action on the field. Terrific effort by the Claremont Footy Club, well deserved. Bad luck for East Fremantle, but they will go on again next year, Judgy, because they've got a good player group themselves, and they showed this year that they've got some great fighting qualities as well.
Yeah, they look like they did, and as I said today,
we've got to get out of this here, Judgy. Thanks for your company throughout the course of the year. We look forward to seeing 2013.
On the wall, in a sea of reaching hands. There's no one there to hold on to, who will catch me when I fall, who will hear me cry when there's no one there to call to, who will hear me cry. A hero is all that we need, someone to stand up and make us believe. A hero when all hope is gone, to carry the fight, to see a new dawn. A hero is there, a hero in you and me. Even heroes feel afraid, but they rise up. They sacrifice to save the lost and betrayed.